Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to welcome you guys to the very first episode of TPS Talk. Now, I guess I'll explain kind of why we're here, or I guess why I'm having you guys here. And I want to thank every one of you guys for showing up today, especially you. And you guys each had plans outside. You showed up, and you came in from work, so I appreciate it. Jason, thank you for showing up as well. When I created the TPS YouTube channel, it was really just to be for promoting our movies. But when over half the roster in our company have full-time factory jobs, there's a lot of downtime between films. It happens. So our YouTube channel was kind of a joke. We had like a video here and a video there. And I love running my mouth about movies. So then I created the TPS TV show, which is just me bitching about movies or reviewing movies or doing whatever with movies. And anyway, so I did that for a while, but then I was like, I still gotta talk. So then me and Simon created the Journey Through a Dark Side show, where we chronicle the Undertaker's pay-per-view matches, everything. It's horror related, and I still need to talk. So then I created the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson, where I just talk more about it. I can't stop talking. I can't stop talking. And then I still have it in me. I gotta talk a little bit more, so then I was like, I need to do another show, but I'm like, at this point, anybody who's literally following the channel, and we got a small devoted following out there, and we love you, it's like they gotta be tired of me just bitching and talking the entire time. So I needed a fresh perspective. I needed different points of view, different opinions, because that's what makes the horror community great. Like literally, I hate talking to somebody that we agree on everything with, because it really does get boring. That's why like me and this guy get along so well, because we can argue about movies and not take it personally, because we have such a but we also have a good common ground as well. So it's always kind of fun to do that. So I decided to get some of our people together here. So I'll introduce myself for those who don't know. I'm Daniel Richardson. I am the CEO of TPS Productions, which sounds way fancier than it really is. I'm the writer and director of such films as Unspeakable Acts and First Snuff Film. And I'll go ahead and go around the table here. We got Jason Bell right now. You helped us on the set of Chris Cage, Modern Day Van Helsing, which hasn't come out yet. You did a little stand-in work for us and kind of hung out on the set. You was featured in the TPS Tussle. Yep. And you was an associate producer on Unspeakable Acts. So, producer, Jason Bell. Over here, I always say if I'm the CEO and Simon's the president, this dude's definitely the vice president. He's a musician. He is a star and director. He was the star of Unspeakable Acts. He co-directed, co-written, and co-starred with me in Entropy. That was most of your brainchild right there. Josh Chaney, everybody. And then finally, over here, she helped us with the TPS Tussle. You helped us with the music video, my first snuff film as well. You was featured in that. And you're starring in the upcoming Chris Cage, Modern Day Van Helsing. So, yeah, debuting right there. Kayla Fields. So, now we got the introductions out of the way. Today, it's everybody's first episode of a podcast or a webcast or whatever you want to call this kind of format. It's usually just a general horror. What is it about horror you like? What makes a horror film to you? And we're going to jump into that as well as share our top 10 favorite horror films of all time. But before we do that, because I'm very pretentious and I decided to really bloat our show with segments, we're going to talk about some upcoming horror films. Now, unfortunately, in this current era, there's not really a whole lot of upcoming stuff at all. In fact, at the time that we're actually recording this, I made the list out earlier this week of the movies. There's actually a couple more movies, and they got pushed back. And then one movie we're talking about, Saint Maud, actually got pushed back a full month. Candyman's been pushed back again. Quiet Place 2's been pushed back again. Spiral has been pushed back almost indefinitely. Halloween Kill's been pushed back an entire year. So right now it's just like there ain't a whole lot of shit coming out. And if it does, it's either video on demand or they're doing the drive-in circuit right now. But nonetheless, we have a couple movies we can talk about either way. The first movie is a film called Saint Maud. It's about a young girl who's very religious, who's helping out this older woman. And thing is, though, she's so deeply religious that she'll do anything to save this older woman's soul. And it does get a little dark. Jason, you watched the trailer. Let me know what you thought about. Let us and the people at home know. What did you think about Saint Maud?
I was underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed?
By the whole trailer. I mean, I don't know. Nothing really stood out to me.
Okay.
I mean, like I know it was a film by was it a I'm drawing a blank here. They made like a Midsummer.
Oh yeah, A24.
A24,
yeah.
yes. And I don't know. It looks kind of like one of their films, you know, because they also did the Witch, and they did like Midsummer, and
Hereditary.
So yeah, and so no, but nothing really stood out to me about it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind, you know, once I actually see the film. But from the trailer, I never got, you know.
Do you plan on watching it, or is this something that you'll?
I probably will watch it when it's in like Redbox. Probably.
Okay.
I probably will go to the theater to see it, but you know.
I mean, let's be fair. None of us are going to go to the theater to see
Well,
it.
yeah, not right now anyway.
Josh, what about you? Saint Maud, what'd you think?
Jury's out, you know. Like he said, there's not a whole lot to the trailer, I don't think. There's a lot of thematic things, so it's kind of, I like that about a trailer, that it's not a whole lot. It's also not much to tell you what's going on in it. So we'll see what happens. I think it could be interesting. If it's anything like the other releases, we should have something good.
Yeah.
Something a little slower, probably more akin to kind of my taste anyway. I like a more thought out, drawn out, semi-pretentious movie, and it kind of gives me that vibe.
Oh, it definitely does.
Anytime you hit that religious button, you get a little bit of pretentiousness.
Absolutely. Kayla, what about you? What do you think?
I agree partly with what they said. I like psychological thrillers and horror movies, so I may watch it, but obviously when it comes out on DVD or something. But there wasn't a whole lot to catch me. Like, I did like the fact that they didn't give away everything in the trailer, which that's what they do lately.
Yeah.
But, it just doesn't like strike anything with me. Like, it seems like it would be boring, even though I like those kind of movies. Plus, I'm also like an ex-Christian, so it kind of hits home, so it's like uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I do like that sometimes too. But it just doesn't seem like it's really gonna make me want, like, I can't wait to fucking watch this movie. Nah.
I'm the one minority here. I'm pumped for this movie. In fact, this is supposed to come out, let's say March or April. I can't remember when. Yeah. And this is before COVID really hit, but I was actually planning on watching this movie. Unfortunately, where we live in Bedford, Indiana, and unfortunately, movies like this don't really come to our neck of the woods. You gotta go to Bloomington or further out to go see it, but I was gonna definitely check it out. What I love about this trailer, I'll be honest with you, I am a sucker for those keywords. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, a movie came out, and Big Bad Wolves. And literally, the trailer just started off by going, Quentin Tarantino said. And I'm like, I'm in. Like, I'm fucking sold. Like, it didn't take nothing at all. The movie The Loved Ones. I don't know if you guys remember the tagline of that. They're like, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets 16 Candles. I'm like, fucking sold. Like, that's all it takes for me. I'm very swayed easily when it comes to like that. And so, the first thing I noticed was from the studio, A24.
Yeah, like A24.
You know, they gave you The Witch and Hereditary and Midsummer, which... With the exception of Midsummer, I wasn't huge on Midsummer. I do want to watch it again. This guy kind of bust my balls for not really being all in on it, so I'll definitely check it out again. To me, it was the Wicker Man again. And I'm talking about the good Wicker Man, not the Nick Cage abortion. If anybody thinks about Nick Cage abortion fucking Wicker Man movie, you're not a horror fan. I'm calling you out.
I thought the A24 mentioning those other titles made me more nervous.
See, and that's true though, because that's the thing. Like, whenever they really don't have nothing else to fall back on, they're like, shit, throw out the other good ones. Like, throw out the ones that everybody likes, and then you're like, those. Yeah, but we had all these great movies. This will be pretty good too. Just
see, that's kind of what I thought too. Yeah, I kind of thought that they're like, well, let's play it up big. It'll be like these movies, you know.
The only thing that's so similar to me.
Well, see, I think that to me. The look does. Not necessarily the vibe, but the look. And I'll tell you right now, it does have that art horror look to it. Aside from those movies, like Lighthouse, clearly that has a different look than all of them. Yeah. But it has that same feel. Like, you would put that as a double feature of any of those other movies because it just has that kind of vibe to it.
This felt less risky. Like, the shots weren't... In the trailer,
yeah.
I didn't feel like any of the shots were like, I've never seen that before.
Agree. I mean, it probably, we're not hitting anything new, but that's the other thing I really like about this is the other kind of subgenres. We've got art horror, but then over here, you mentioned, you're an ex-Christian, you're thinking, so I'm the same way. And I'm a fan of religious movies, like when religion goes bad. And it doesn't have to necessarily be Christian or Catholicism, but like cults and stuff like that. So like movies like The Sacrament, The Exorcist. You guys ever seen the movie Stakeland? It was a low-budget vampire movie. It's post-apocalyptic.
Stakeland, yeah.
And so there's a whole group of these like Christian nut jobs who, in the apocalypse, they're like, well, these are demons come to Earth, and they form their own like Mad Max type group that's all based on we're doing the work of the Lord. But they're not just killing vampires, they're killing anybody, and they're raping and killing anybody that gets in their way. But in their minds, like, oh no, we're doing the Lord's work. And so I always love movies like that. You know, I feel like, Black Death was another one that was kind of like that. Which also, that was kind of the first movie I watched where it felt like it was kind of like this art horror kind of renaissance that we're going through right now. And it was the same way where like it was taking place during the plague back in wherever the hell the plague was. I'm not a smart guy, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know history. But anyways, when the church finds out there's this like pagan Wiccan village and they somehow have not been touched by the plague, they're like,
witchcraft.
we are, yeah, exactly. They're like, we're the ones that believe in God. Why are we not protected? What's so and then it turns into this weird holy war. And so with Saint Maud, I feel like that's what we're going to get, is this young girl who is she's disturbed to begin with. Like, clearly she has mental issues, but the fact that she's wrapping that up with religion, and now no matter what she does, she can be justified by like, well, I'm doing this for the Lord. Like, I'm the pure one here. You guys are all sinners. So by me, at one point the scene that really got me was when she put this little spike thing in her shoe and she steps on it to give herself like this stigmata-ish type torture or whatever it is. It's like she's trying to punish herself and give herself pain, but bring herself closer to God. I really dug that. And I don't know who she's bludgeoning, but there's a scene where she's literally coming down on somebody, and you're like, holy crap, like she's definitely snapped. So for me, I know what to expect. I feel like, I kind of thought the opposite, where you guys kind of thought like, well, they're mentioning all these other great movies because they're trying to like cover up like this and shit. I feel like it's the opposite, where it's like, they're trying to get you in that mindset of like, yeah, this is going to be a slow one. If you go into the theater expecting like, all right, we're going to get some nonstop action, it's like, no, you ain't going to get that at all. And so instead of busting out other A22 movies, they went for the ones that were like, well, these were the slow burners. These were the, type things. But I'm definitely looking to check this out, and I'm disappointed it got pushed back. I keep hoping like somehow it played somewhere so it would wind up on Hulu 1, 2, 3, but I've yet to, see it come up. So
maybe on demand early.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of movie that succeeds with.
I'll agree. I mean, because I do feel like it's more of an intimate kind of. I mean, it'll play at art houses better. I think it'll play better in your living room. This isn't going to be big box office numbers. I mean, even though Hereditary did really well in The Witch and all the other movies, it's like I don't think this will be on that level. But I don't think that takes away the quality either. But
we're hitting that diminishing return where it's like 5 or 6 movies in too.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I will say that is the cycle of horror too. Because you get a couple great ideas, whether it's vampires or zombies or whatever, but then by like the third or fourth movie, it's like, shit, now we're just, we're spinning our wheels right now. So up next was a film called The Rental, where 2 young couples rent a vacation house. They're celebrating something, they got something going on, it's good. However, shit goes wrong, and I guess we'll just leave it at that. Josh, we'll start with you this time. What did you think about The Rental?
So literally the only thing that I find interesting about this movie is that Alison Brie is in it.
I love Alison Brie. I love Alison Brie.
So I'm going to plug the Community and say it's like the greatest TV show. It's really funny. You have to get about a season in to start to get it.
He's right.
But that's mainly the only reason I'm interested. I think it's the same plot that I've seen in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hot couples get predatorized by someone. I don't know. We'll see. They're stuck in a place that they can't leave, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But Alison Brie, she's very pretty. And a great actress.
You hope they can't leave, because that'd be really ridiculous. Like, oh my God, we're being terrorized. Like, can you get the cards? Like, I can, but my kids are over there. I just don't really want to walk to them right now.
And the trailer says it's like, we'll leave in the morning. And it's like,
it's the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're being watched, right then.
They're like, in the morning, it's like, it's noon right now. Like, you want to wait till tomorrow morning? Like, yeah, let the night pass. Let's see how it plays out,
But Alison Brie's great.
So, I mean, will this be something you'll check out, or just kind of like you'll have to come across it randomly years later? I mean, are you going to actively search
It'll be
out?
on Netflix. This will be one of those movies that catches the stream. It'll be on one of those.
Will this be something you would watch when you're working?
Yeah, this is definitely working and watching
So
movies.
this guy, he works on a press where I work at, but like he literally he just sets up his phone and he's just like music, podcast, and movies for this guy all day long, which I'm jealous of because where I'm at, I gotta stand and move around more, so I can't just sit there because I do the exact same thing if I could. But this guy, that's where he gets a lot of his movies watched. But every time it's something good, I always like, you may want to watch this like when you're at home, like don't around this, but. This does seem like a movie you can probably just, watch while you're doing that.
This is a background movie. I'm gonna feel bad if it's great, but it doesn't seem like it.
Kayla, what do you think? What about The Rental? Your thoughts?
Like he said, it's just like a plot that I've seen a million times. I don't know who that lady is, so it didn't really stand out to me much. I guess I kind of do like movies that are a bit stalkerish, because like I said, I like psychological thrillers. But other than that, I remember zilch about this trailer.
This one you're referring to, you're like, I don't remember anything about this trailer. Gotcha.
I'm so sorry.
Now, is this something you would check out, or is this something you...
It'd be like, I'm bored, I'll watch a movie.
Gotcha. I'm gonna agree, honestly. I want to fight you guys on everything, but this is one of those I can't. I'm not a fan of movies like The Strangers or Vacancy. And those should be great. Those are movies that's like a great idea. It's a scary idea, but it's like for whatever reason I didn't like them. I feel like the only thing this has a leg up on, at least from the trailer, is these have likable characters. At least I think they do. But on top of that, the thing we haven't mentioned yet is Alison Brie's husband is Dave Franco, and he's actually the writer-director of this movie. Now I'm really curious to see what he's gonna do now. With that said, the trailer looks pretty fucking generic, so it's like, I don't really... But once again, I don't expect him to go out there and just be like...
it looks pretty predictable.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like you were saying, leave in the morning,
Yeah.
So, let's see how, the entire night plays out.
And
usually that's,
Yeah, and I was getting Vacancy vibes big time from when they're like,
Yeah.
is that a camera in the shower? I'm like, well, there's a camera in your motel room last time, so why not, So, yeah, honestly, this is not my kind of... film usually at all.
With Vacancy though, that's where they found the videotape.
Yeah.
And then they realized we're in this same hotel room.
But the problem with that was it was the characters I couldn't get behind because even though the actors are great, I love Kate Beckinsale and Luke Wilson, but it's like they were just bitching the whole time and fighting like their marriage. And then the Strangers, same thing, like their marriage was on the relationship was on the rocks too. So I'm just like.
And then fear brings them together.
Exactly. In Strangers it does, and in Vegas it does. Like at one point, Kate Beckinsale goes in the ceiling and she's just like. Fuck Luke Wilson, I'm up here, and he gets killed, and he's just like,
sorry about you.
Yeah, that's you. So what about you, Jason? I guess you kind of shared it too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely probably will watch it at some point. It looks like a film that I probably would like to a certain degree because it looks like it might be suspenseful, but I think I know where it's going.
Yeah.
So. But no, I don't really get too much from the trailer of it, and it's probably nothing that that I would pay to see.
Yeah.
I would probably wait for Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or some place like that to show it. But I probably definitely will check it out because
I wasn't curious at all. But when you said Dave Franco wrote and directed it, the more I thought about it, the more I'm.
Now you want to see
I'm slightly interested.
Now I'm all in.
Well, my thought is that. If Dave Franco is doing this, he's going to have people like James Franco in the corner saying, no, that's a terrible generic idea. So maybe that's just the trailers. Let's show them something really generic, and then the twist, the real direction is completely different.
I'll give you an example of that. You guys can't see it at home, but my girlfriend is sitting on the other side of the camera right now. And I forget what year it was. We'll say 2012. It was her turn to pick the movie. Went to the theater and watched a movie called You're Next. And I saw the trailer, I was like, fuck this is the same bullshit. I don't want to see it. But she said we have to go see it and can't say no, so I was like, alright, let's go. Fucking loved it. And they took the home invasion genre and they just spun it on its head.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't tell that from the trailer. The trailer was so generic and mind-numbing. It was like they just we got Purge and we got Strangers and we're just combining the two and here's the trailer. And I'm just like...
Now, see, for me, You're Next, that made me want to see it more.
Yeah, well, really, see, to me,
I'm because I watched, trailer, and I'm like, this looks awesome.
Okay, see,
So, I don't know.
So, like I said, I was the opposite on that, but the same thing is when I finally watched it, I was like, wow, this is not the movie they advertised at all. So, and the fact that, like I said, James Franco is a director, he does a lot of stuff. So, back to his little brother's tag along, it's like, clearly he had to be on the set with his older brothers. I mean, he knows a few things. I just like the fact that, if you look at the guy who's with Alison Brie, like her boyfriend in the movie, it looks just like Dave Franco. Like, it really is like, he was just like, I like this guy over here. Like,
She like has a type.
yeah, exactly. It's like, if you're having, she's like, oh, yeah. He's like, no, you want this guy because he looks just like me.
That being said, I wish Dave was in it.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing, I was like, why couldn't he just? But once again, I don't know if this is the first movie or not, but it's the first movie I'm aware of. So maybe it is like, if I'm directing the movie, I'd rather be behind.
Did we not
camera.
just watch The Disaster Artist, and didn't James direct as well?
James directed, but Dave
In
did.
character?
But see, James directed.
So
yeah, but James
he's got some like.
Well, don't get me wrong, possible. I mean, like I said,
He had
some people can do it their first time.
to learn.
I mean, Tarantino, Smith, they've all, their first films, they all, acted and directed at the same time. So, I mean, I agree.
Maybe he has a part later.
Like a cameo.
I don't know.
He does his Hitchcock, like, he's the gas station attendant, but you got like 3 guys who all look like Dave Franco on the same brains. It's like, so weird.
I'm just imagining that at the end of the film, this is where it goes. It's the end of the Matrix, and Dave Franco is talking to sit-in Dave Franco. It's like, man, you don't look a thing like me. You're a terrible actor. It's really meta. It's great.
If it goes that direction, I'm in.
You heard it
let me know.
first.
It was like, yeah, if it happens, go ahead and spoil the ending. Like,
Totally sold.
it does happen. I'm like, you know what? I'm watching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That's just a theory.
it's just a theory. Hey, I'm all for it. So when I was coming up with this show and the format, once again, I was like, I want different segments. We already covered some upcoming movies, and I was like, I want to have like a Q&A, like if people out there would want to talk to us. I'm being very pretentious right now. Like, I'm assuming people are going to actually listen to us, and I'd be like, hey, I got stuff to talk to you guys about. But I decided, I want that thing, but I was like, well, I want to have it now. So what I did was, earlier in the month, I went to all of our social media. TPS is on Facebook. And all the links will be down below, so if you want to follow us on any of that stuff, it's down there. But we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on the Slasher app, and here on YouTube. And so I was just asking, like, hey guys, we're putting a show together through the net out there. You got any like general horror questions? Throw them our way. And I will be doing this for each, because we're gonna do this like once a month. This won't be a weekly show, but we're gonna try to do it once a month. And so be looking out for that. Use the hashtag TPS Talk. If you have any kind of questions, and usually I'll post like whatever the topic will be. And so we got a good handful of questions in, but I decided, it's going to be having a long episode of all these top 10, so I was like, I'll narrow it down. So I took it down to 2. So the first question from Twitter is the Conjecturing Podcast, and they asked, what was your first intro into horror? Like, what got you into it? What was your first taste? What was your first step into it? Kayla, I'll ask you first. What was, what would you remember your first,
My first, official horror movie was this thing called Virus.
Yeah.
And it had Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and I don't remember everything because I was a little kid, and I was like, I'm never watching this movie again. My mom told me, you're going to get nightmares. I'm like, no, I'm not. I got nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted until adulthood. But basically, Jamie Lee Curtis has to fight off these robots that, are super intelligent and also homicidal, so they take over people's bodies, and all you see is half human, half robot, and they're just murdering everyone on the ship. That was my first intro. I was a little kid. Mom said don't do it, and I did it, and then I guess I was just a sucker for punishment, and I kept going.
Nice. How old was you?
I think I was
Guess
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I guess there's different little points I stepped in, because the very first horror film I ever watched was actually Jaws when I was 4 years old, and it scared the shit out of me, and I wouldn't watch it again until I was double-digit age, I was like, no, fuck that. But then when I was 5, I watched The Shining. Also scared the shit out of me, but in a different way, because that's the first time where I'm like, wow, that's a good movie, I like the movie.
You like being scared.
Yes, and it was just one of those things where it was just I identified with the kid, his name was Danny, I'm Daniel, so it just and so I really kind of got into that, and that was the funny thing, you said, your mom was you get scared and everything. It terrified me, but I couldn't tell my parents, because I knew as soon as I told them that scared me, or I'm having nightmares, I had nightmares for a while, I knew as soon as I said anything, jig was up, no more horror movies, and I was kind of hooked at that point. But I would say, as far as actually knowing, because at that time I don't know what genres are, I'm 5 years old, but I would say it's probably around 8 years old or so when I was at my grandmother's house, my uncle was there, and he was watching Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. And me and my cousin's over there, and like I said, I'm 8, he's 7, but we're watching the screen, we're like, whoa, what's this? This is awesome. And he was like, oh, this is Friday the 13th, whatever. I'm like, what? that's awesome. Like, part 6? Like, what, really? Like, there's 5 others of these? And so, and for whatever reason, I gravitated to, like, the idea of, like, this movie that, you know, there's 6 of these. And I'm like, well, how did I not kill Jason each time? Like, come on, this is ridiculous. But I was fascinated by it, and it just seemed like this full, like, it had a lot of mythology to it, a whole lot of backstory, and I felt like I wanted to see more. And so I remember at that point on, I would take, I got $5 for allowance at that time. It's like 92, come on, you know, $5, you stretch a little bit. But I'd go to North End Video, which here in town, you guys remember North End Video or not? It was a little mom and pop place, but it was incredible. And the guy who ran it was a dude named Max. I forget his last name. He was the quintessential poster guy of like, I don't give a fuck. And I go in there, and I would rent movies all the time, and, you know, R-rated stuff all the time. But the moment I realized this guy just didn't care was when I was like 12 or so, and I rented I Spit on Your Grave, the original. And it wasn't just like, you know, because this is VHS days, you would take the case up there. This is, you know, the old school, they had all the things in the back. This had the old school, like, 80s clamshell. So it not only was it like, I Spit on Your Grave, it was this fucking big. It had a woman's, like, almost bare ass. She's covered in blood. And it had a sticker that said, do not rent, you know, unless you're 18 years of age or, you know, whatever. And so, like Nick Lovin from Superbad, I'm just kind of like, rent that. And literally, he didn't even give me a look over. He just takes it, takes the card, looks at it, scanned it. You know, at that time you had to have cards when you went to video stores. Mm-hmm. He scanned it, and then he went back and scanned the movie, got my movie, and I rented it at like 12 years old. And I was like, wow. And then I watched it, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I knew it was going to be bad, but that's the first time I ever watched a rape revenge movie, and I was like, oh my god, 12 years old. Max, you probably shouldn't have been in business. But that was, so at that point, though, I educated myself on horror. Like, every weekend, I'd go rent a handful. Like, $5 back then would get like 3 movies, so I would just, you know, rent what I could and everything else. That was my intro into horror. Jason, what about you? What really kind of got you into horror?
I don't remember the first horror movie I ever watched, but it was the slashers that, like, really got me into it. Like Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers. I just thought it was so cool. I don't, you know, like I was like 4 and 5, you know, somewhere around there, that I started watching it, and I never stopped. I'd be watching it, you know. I just, you know, and I got pretty serious about it probably whenever I was about maybe 12 as well, probably, because then I really started, you know, looking for you're like a classic films like Psycho and the, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and, you know, different things like that. So, I mean, yeah, but I think I started watching horror whenever I was about 4 or 5.
Okay.
And I've been watching it like ever since then. And, you know, like you, I would like, you know, like you rent movies about like every weekend. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what I would do. And so it's, you know, kind of crazy now to think that there's no more like video stores now.
Yeah.
You know, they're all gone. You know,
especially today, ours dying right now. Like the last one here in Bedford.
Well, and you know, the other night we were watching something on you know, Netflix, I think, and it kept on like I'd be going out, you know, like it wouldn't stay on. I don't know if the like signal or something was bad. But you know, I told my wife, see, this is why physical media always wins, because this never happened with, you know, DVD. You know, so
until it's scratched.
Well, until it's scratched. But yeah, so yeah, no, but yeah, for me, yeah, you know, like I've been very serious about horror for a long time, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you?
I've not been serious about horror for very long. I wouldn't say. I'd say my introduction was probably Goosebumps.
Okay, yeah.
As far as horror goes, that was the first intro. The one that I specifically remember is The Dummy.
Oh,
Night of the Living Dummy is what it's called.
Slappy,
yeah, great name for great spoof name and just great name in general. And the one where she gets stuck in the mask. I don't remember which one.
The Haunted Mask.
The Haunted Mask. That's it. Great name.
I was a fan too, so
yeah. So I love those two, but they were also too scary when I watched them. I was probably 8 or 9, maybe even 13. It didn't matter. I was very, very weak.
He's like, I was 20, and you know, I'm not gonna lie.
When I was young,
I
struggled with horror films, and then as I got older, I think I watched The Exorcist and realized that no scary movies are actually scary. They're just kind of dumb. Yeah, they're gross or dumb or just meant to make you feel uncomfortable temporarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, That's the way it started. So then I re-entered the horror, like 16, 17 years old when I was a little older.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask you, like, when did you finally get into it where you was...
Yeah, probably then, and then it really took off as I met Daniel at work. I think he really pushed me more into the horror side of things with the more psychological side of things too. And that's just, YouTube progressing with where it went.
Yeah.
Top 10 of what you want to watch horror movies.
Yeah.
That's really helped me get into what I wanted to get into.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Is like once the internet was, a thing, it was like that made it so much easier to actually go research what we don't want to see.
Dude, I just watched Clerks 2.
I love it.
And they were talking about being on the internet and talking shit about movies. So, yeah.
There's going to be a part 3 too.
Yeah, Kevin Smith was talking about that the other day. Actually,
I was really hoping that as Clerks 2 came to a close, I was like, this is not the end of the fucking movie.
Because didn't the restaurant burn down? Is that what happens in that? Or?
No. They reopened the Quick Stop. At the
that's
end
what happens. Okay.
And then it fades back to black and white, so it full circle.
Yeah. I was gonna say because they were working like at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, they were wearing moopies, and then they.
I want the third to be in black and white.
I got it. Yeah.
I'm hoping.
You know what? Yeah, I think I'll be okay with that. Because to me, it feel right. I mean, it's still a Kevin Smith film, so I think I'll be alright with that.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, the Conjecturing Podcast, for that question. And then the other one came from Citizen Beaver from Instagram, who's actually a good friend, not just of me, but of TPS in general. It's actually Andrew Beaver. He was also an associate producer on Unspeakable Acts, and just an old friend of mine altogether. And his question was, what director who has never done a horror film would you like to see do a horror film? For me, I gotta say Christopher Nolan. I think that guy is just brilliant. And not just that, but I feel like he would have the tools to make it work. I feel like a lot like Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino, of course, he's done horror, but it's like he knows how to make a scene suspenseful. He knows how to make it work. Look at movies like Memento, The Prestige.
I would almost call The Prestige horror.
I mean, almost. I mean, there's certain
Hugh Jackman's
version. I mean, there's definitely elements of it. No, absolutely. It would be killing his own clone and shit. Sorry, I didn't want to give that away to anybody.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, shit.
It came out 15 years
ago. But Dark Knight is a good example of like the Joker wasn't just a comic book villain. Dude, he was fucking terrifying in that movie.
The first time he comes on screen-ish, with that shaky hand.
Absolutely, and it's the way he does the music in that movie, and just the way he's
Ledger's direction.
What?
Actually,
once again, but Nolan knew how to harness that and get it out of him. And then I look at a movie like Inception, where there's a couple scenes in there that I remember. I mean, I'm watching in my living room. I was for whatever reason I was being a dick, and I was like, fuck this Inception movie. I saw the trailer, like, this looks stupid. Didn't want to watch it. And everybody's like, Daniel's bro. I'm like, bullshit. Don't want to see it. And so one night my brother rinsed it and dropped it off. And I was like, all right, I'll check it out, I guess. And instantly hooked into it. It's like fucking awesome. But I'm in my living room watching. I'm just sitting on the floor. And literally the scene where he's talking to his wife, and she just turns to the camera. She's looking at Ellen Page or whatever, in an elevator. When she turns and looks, jump scare noise. And I'm like, holy shit. But it's like, this ain't a horror film. Why did I jump? And it's like, he knows how to build tension. Like, he puts these moments in there that, once again, these aren't horror films, but he knows how to, build that. And I feel like if he was to do an out-and-out horror film, I think he'd kill it. So, I mean, every other genre he's touched, whether it's war, fantasy, sci-fi, psychological, whatever, he kills it. Superhero movies, dramas, whatever, no one knows how to do it. So, I would say if he did horror, yeah, he'd dominate. Jason, what about you, man? What would you...
I'm going to say Martin Scorsese.
Oh, interesting.
The reason being is because I don't think he's ever done a horror movie, one that would be considered like a horror movie, but he makes really violent movies. He makes films that have a lot of blood and tension and stuff in them. So I think if he was to make one that was horror, I think it would probably be a pretty good movie.
See, I think the closest he came, and I don't consider it horror because up here in my mystery section, Shutter Island. I think it's the only one that comes close. But even then, I'm even like, it's not really a horror film. It's definitely more mystery.
Mystery thriller type.
And he did great with that, though. I mean, you see in that movie, he definitely has what. I mean, Scorsese's the fucking man anyway. So it's like,
so I think if he did a horror movie, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see it. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm glad that we got the slight, you have to cheat a little bit for certain directors.
Yeah, absolutely.
My director is a bit of a cheat because I had Requiem for a Dream on my list.
Okay, yeah.
But Darren Aronofsky for sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do just
Now-
straight up horror film.
What do you consider Mother?
I-
If you had to put that in your
I
collection.
think that's more biblical, like spiritual.
So
like
drama.
It's more of a spiritual drama
Gotcha.
type movie.
All right.
And it's Aronofsky art house style film. This is the only way I can really describe Mother.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider that horror. It's also, but maybe it's a creative horror.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's definitely. I think he's a director who's on the fringe, and his movies are. He's, I know you're big on him right now. He's a lot like David Lynch, where it's hard to classify a Lynch movie because there are elements of horror. Like whenever I see anybody put like a David Lynch movie on their horror list, I'm like, I'm not going to argue because like I can see why Twin Peaks Firewalk with me. Yeah, exactly. Is on there. I can see why Mulholland Drive would make a list, even though it's not a horror film. I have it in my mystery section, but it's like
5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the film Pie? Like, so what do you think about? Like,
That's a psychological thriller for sure. But I'm cheating.
Yeah, no, that's
Cheating here.
But you're saying if he was to just go full force, lean into a horror film.
Yeah,
I agree. I think
make it scary
shit.
Maybe bloody. I don't think he'd need to, but I just think he understands imagery and metaphor
Absolutely
way more than most people.
Yeah. Kayla, what about you?
You already beat me to it, thanks.
Oh, sorry, no, that's well, you got the same answer. Believe me, that's all good. I mean,
I definitely want to see Christopher Nolan make horror movies, especially Inception. That really got me because as a vivid, lucid dreamer, I'm always falling into multiple dreams. So that movie made me question my reality, and it made me uncomfortable because I'm like, oh shit, and the ending still bothers me. So I just feel like he'd be really good.
just in your opinion,
Yeah.
is Leo out or in? Is he in a dream right now or is he out?
I think he's in a dream.
Think he's in a dream. Fair
And
enough.
that still bothers me.
The other name that stood out to me would be, and it's another maybe cheap, but I'd like to see Tarantino tackle full-on horror.
See, that's the thing. Death Proof. I know. And that's the thing. Once again, if anybody would sit here and be like, Daniel, that is not a horror film, I'd be like, I'm not going to argue because I mean, it definitely has more of that road action vibe. But it clearly, he did promote it as a horror film. But I agree, if he was to go all out and just be like, I'm going to do a straight up horror film, yeah, I think he'd kill it. I really do. Because I was going to put Tarantino on there initially, but I was like, shit, he wrote From Dusk Till Dawn, he did, Death Proof, and I was like, alright, you're right, it's kind of a cheat, so I was like, I'll back away.
And, like it was said that, he wanted to, like, do Scream, he wanted to be the guy to, do Scream. I don't know. I think that would have been interesting to see.
I think it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I sort of heard him wanting to do that. At one point, now I don't know how serious this was, because he's also a guy who will just be very tongue-in-cheek in interviews.
Yeah.
Like, I remember at one point, like, it was like rumored that he was wanting to do a Friday the 13th, and I was like, yeah, I want to see that Friday the 13th movie. I really do. Like, I don't care how. And the thing is, like, everybody's like, well, but it's Tarantino. Like, Tarantino's, like, if you guys ever seen 4 Rooms, he has a small segment in that where it's literally, it's brilliant. The Man from Hollywood. That little 15-minute nugget is so, yes! And the whole time, you're in it. You're like, yeah, I want to see what happens next. And it's like, if you were to tell me that script, like, we're going to have the 2 guys talk, he's going to try to bet a guy if he can chop his finger off, and that's going to be it. For 15 minutes, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. And it's like, well, Tarantino's, I'm like, okay, I'm in.
It's very engaging.
It really is. Like, you're hooked from beginning to end.
It really
so, Tarantino's another one that would, be all about.
Or Kevin Smith, because Tusk, to me, feels like a joke.
Well,
Is that
what about Red
Tusk?
State?
yeah, it does. I was like, Red State, though, does definitely feel more.
That's a horror
Have you
movie.
seen Red State?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's definitely, there's no question. That's definitely a horror film right
It's
there.
like a right-wing type horror.
Yeah.
movie,
It has, not comparing to it at all, but aesthetically, it kind of reminds me a lot of like Hostel in a way. This has like that very real, and once again, like I was going back to Saint Maud, it has that religion gone wrong, where all these like Baptist fuckers are like, we're going to torture these sinners and everything else. So yeah, I love Red State.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, B, for throwing that question at us. So once again, you guys have any questions, about anything? We're not going to like not answer a question if it had nothing to do with the topic. But be looking out on our social media. I will be dropping, later on next month. Hey, we're going to be doing a show, and here's the topic for that one. Be looking out for that. If you have any questions, by all means, we'll answer them. No problem at all. So I want to do a game now. As we were getting ready for this, I was asked each of you guys to give me a horror villain, and I decided that we're going to throw them into the horror villain battle royale. The battle royale for you.
Royale.
Thank you.
The royale with cheese. So
It's got E on the end, it's Royale.
I'm a wrestling fan, and it's always pronounced battle royal, and he was giving me shit before we turned the cameras on about it, and I was like, that's what they always called it, but honestly, it's like, but in the movie Battle Royale, it's considered a Battle Royale, so it's like, all right, I'm not gonna argue it. Battle
Or
Royale.
in the great Tarantino, a Royale cheese.
Royale cheese. So there's
for real.
UT said it.
Yeah.
We're on it. So
It's the Bible.
So what I decided to ask each of these guys to give me a villain, and how we're gonna do it is we're gonna put them in a little location, and then we're all gonna vote on who gets eliminated. And the one who has the most votes is eliminated. We move on to the next one, and we keep going until we get them all out. In case of a tie, I did go to the horror community on Twitter, and I set up a poll, and they went ahead and they ranked it for us. So I will say though, 2 of them tied. So if these 2 tie, they're both eliminated. We're going to get them both out of the way and move on. So we're going to introduce each of these people that's going to enter the fray. I decided to pick the woods as a setting. The woods is a very friendly place for underground horror movie filmmakers that have no money, because great production value and it doesn't cost shit. So it's like perfect.
So is this the woods from Into the Woods?
Could be Into the Woods, could be Cabin in the Woods, the woods around that, could be Evil Dead, could be Blair Witch Project. It's whatever your mind tells you the woods are, by all means have it. So we're going to start with your guy. You picked Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Dream Warrior himself, Nightmare, haunt your dreams, or haunt your nightmares, I guess I should say. Can kill you in that. Yeah, go ahead and just tell us why you liked him, why you picked him, what, champion him. Like, why is he going to win?
Freddy Krueger? Well, I've always been a fan of Freddy because, I don't know, he's always been scary to me. Mm-hmm. Mainly because, different reasons, but, Jason and, like, Michael Myers, they're, like, eerie, right? Because they don't talk, they just kind of, like, walk slow and all that stuff. But like Freddy kind of like plays like mind games, he talks, he's got this like personality about him, his power is, if you fall asleep, he can like, he can kill you like in your sleep. What's more terrifying than that?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that is just terrifying.
No, absolutely.
So that's my argument for Freddy.
So this guy over here, he went with Jason Voorhees, but he didn't just go with Jason Voorhees. He went with Uber Jason. And for those who are unfamiliar with Uber Jason, in Jason X, Jason Voorhees is in space, and at one point he gets in a fight with an android, and she whips his ass and blows him apart. He's just dead, body parts everywhere. However, this machine just comes alive for no reason and reassembles him as half man, half machine, Uber Jason, cybernetic Jason Voorhees, and he's just an unstoppable killing
It's like
machine.
your RoboCop on steroids.
Exactly.
Kind of.
So go ahead. Why'd you go with this route, and why?
Well, if I'm gonna come into a competition, I'm gonna come to win.
He's like,
I want
fucking gloves.
I picked a character that I thought would do pretty well as being one of my favorite iterations of a great horror icon. I don't know. It's Terminator meets Jason, so I'm just really good with that. It's just fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Really fun. Good.
No, I love the diversity of this thing. I really do. No, absolutely. Because whenever I picked mine, he picked his. He's like, but I don't want Jason. I want Jason from Jason X. So I'm just like, fair enough, man. Perfect. So up next, we got, now this guy didn't have a name in the movie. It was a movie called No One Lives. But he's credited in the credits as the driver. Luke Evans played the character. And for anybody who has never seen No One Lives, I watched it. It's on Tubi. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tubi or not.
Tubi's wonderful.
Tubi's fucking awesome.
It's free too.
Yeah, it's free. It's great, and they have an incredible selection of horror
Not paid
films.
advertisement.
Yeah, not sponsored by Tubi. At least not yet. Please,
Please
Tubi.
sponsor.
So, anyways, without giving anything, like there really is a lot of twists and turns in the movie. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I really think people should watch it. But basically, what happens is these bank robbers or they're heist. I don't know. They're robbing something, but they basically when it goes bad, they decide, well, damn it, we're gonna get our money one way or another. And they decide to kidnap a couple. But when they get this couple, and they look in the couple's van or the trunk, they kidnap somebody. And you find out this couple is actually a sadistic, psychotic killing group. And then the dude breaks out, the driver, and starts hunting these guys down one by one. The best way I can describe this guy for people who don't know him is if like John Wick was a serial killer, like seriously, or like if Jason Bourne meets Jason Voorhees, you know what I mean? Like literally, That's it. So the driver. Go ahead and tell us why you picked the driver. And
I picked him one because there's nothing more dangerous than a hot villain,
mm-hmm.
and also
just
because
comes in like, I'm gonna kill you now.
It's
All right,
like-
let's do this.
time to die. But also because this random ass dude had military grade skills, he kidnaps people for no reason. He's very possessive of his things, and he will kill everyone just to get it back.
Yeah.
That is why I picked him, because he's based more in reality. And the fact is, he also, I don't want to spoil it, but he also knows how to track his
Yeah.
victims. So he tracks them, and then he leaves them traumatized
Yeah.
for the rest of their lives. Nobody lives. That's why it's such a good title.
If I had to compare him to another villain that maybe people would, I mean, once again, I didn't even know this movie at all, and when she told me, I was like, I gotta watch it. I gotta make sure I'm researching it right so I can do this thing properly. It reminded me of The Collector, not necessarily his MO, but just how that dude was literally just badass. Like, any weapon, the tracking skills, setting traps, all that. I mean, he's that guy.
Isn't that on track for a third?
Do what?
Isn't that on track for a third film, right? The
It's
Collection?
been forever. It's called The Collected. But yeah, that's been happening since 2013, and we haven't had it yet. So, I mean, I'm hoping. I would love to see another one. And then the fourth one, I went with Michael Myers. Now, I'm going, though, with Michael Myers in the timeline of Part 1 up until The Curse of Michael Myers Part 6. All right? We're not doing Busta Rhymes whooping his ass. We're not going with the hobo Rob Zombie version. And we're not going with a goddamn 80-year-old Michael Myers chasing a 60-year-old fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. Fuck that movie. I hate that movie so much.
Who survives a fire?
It's not like it. They put it out. They put it out. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's our job. Like, what do you think he's gonna do? They're gonna go there and be like, we're gonna let it go.
Let's segue and talk about that trailer, because
Wow.
I thought it was shitty.
Oh god, fuck that. I hate that movie. I hate the first movie. I hate the Halloween. I don't want to. We're not gonna move down. I'm in a good mood. Let's keep the movie going. So I'm going Michael Myers from 1 through 6. I went with him because very stealthy, and really, it's questionable if he's literally immortal or not in that series, because yes, he's been gunned down, but it's like, you can hear people getting shot numerous times, and they were able to pull through. Yes, he burned in a hotel or a hospital. That can happen. You can pull through that. Even Donald Loomis, or Sam Loomis, Donald Pleasance. Fuck.
Donald Pleasance.
I was getting there. God damn it. But Donald Pleasance, his character, same thing. He's survived the fire and everything. But then there's a bit of a supernatural aspect to it. The Thorn. And that kind of drives him and makes him this unstoppable killing machine. So he's kind of a shark. That's how John Carpenter described him, in the first one when he made it. Just an unstoppable force of evil. So Freddy Krueger, Uber Jason, the driver, and Michael Myers walking through the woods. Sounds like a bad setup for a joke. This is our battle royal. So we're going to start with you. These four are fighting. Who gets eliminated first?
I'm gonna say the driver. No offense.
That's fair enough. Go ahead. But your reason?
No. Well, just because if you're going off of power and like the supernatural things like that, Michael and Freddy and Jason have like a supernatural aspect to them. The driver is just a guy, right? I mean, general, So yeah, that's.
But it's pretty ruthless.
Yeah, pretty ruthless. I mean, and like anything can happen. I mean, the driver could like trip Jason and something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just going off.
No, fair enough. We all have our own opinions. That's what makes this fun. So no, absolutely.
Yes, of course.
All right. So driver's got a point against him. Josh.
Driver's dead.
Driver's got. Not looking for driver. Reasons?
I'm good.
Oh, you say so? You just go with that
I'm
thing.
good. Yeah, there's no reason.
I feel so hurt.
Kayla, who are you gonna vote for in this one?
Well, obviously I want to pick the driver. But I feel like he would die, but in a really good way. He would kick ass as much as possible.
Fair enough.
I'd say he might even knock Freddy on his ass for a second.
Well, I think the question you
That's
got to
second.
raise here, since you guys already put your votes in and I won't be swaying anything, is are we in the Dream World set of woods? Because if Freddy gets pulled out of the Dream World in his battle royal, Freddy sucks. Like, literally, Nancy's whooping his ass and setting Home Alone traps in her house and putting him down.
The driver's definitely not.
Driver. And once again, we've never officially chopped Myers' head off. Like they do it and they shoot up, but that don't count. But that wasn't even him. That was a paramedic driver. But what happened if he just chopped his head off? Like, would Myers be able to pop back up? I doubt it. I think Jason would be able to pop up after that even. Like, we've never cut Jason's head off completely, except for, no.
Yeah,
he got blown up and Jason goes to hell, but and Jason X did too.
Then he jumps back.
Exactly.
Let's not forget the driver hit in a human body.
That's it. Absolutely. I was like, he does a lot of cool shit. I didn't want to give anything away on it, but unfortunately, I'm going to go driver only because he only has one movie. Whereas Michael was able to get shot and stabbed in the eye with a coat hanger in part 1, but he comes back, gets caught in a fire, comes back, gets blown up and down a shaft, comes back. So it's just like, there's a recurring thing to him coming back. Even if he's not immortal, he's very resilient. So I got to take the driver out as well. So driver has been eliminated. So I will say, honestly, he puts up a hell of a fight. If I want to put a little story to this one, he puts up a hell of a fight. However, just in the end, it happened, I'm gonna say, I'll say Freddy got him. I'll say gloves in the back, and oh shit, and then as he's going down, Jason comes up and machetes him right through here, and then he's thumb over here, and then Michael just knife in the face. So he goes out a champ. I mean, he didn't just get punked out. I mean, it was, he took it, he took a header there.
I love that we have the true Three Stooges now. Jason, Freddy,
these are the three right here. I mean, 9 times out of 10 when someone does their Mount Rushmore of horror villains, these are the 3. So it's fitting that these would be the 3 right here.
I wish Pinhead was thrown in here.
Or Leatherface or something like that, All right, Josh, we'll let you go next. Now we're down to Freddy, Jason, and Michael. Who's going out next?
Next one to go is going to be Freddy. Because Freddy just stabbed the driver in the back, so I'm going to assume he's doing pretty regular stuff. That seems like a physical attack. I think he's in the regular world, so Freddy's dead.
Okay.
Plus, Jason X has a bit of a beef.
I would say, he does. There's definitely some history there because Jason X takes place after the events of Freddy vs. Jason, so he knows, he remembers this motherfucker. He's like, you grabbed my mask and pulled out of hell in one movie,
and it's very clear who ends up surviving this because Jason X is way in the future, and we're talking right now with this fight. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to say who wins this, but I do want to say who wins this.
All right, Kayla, who are you going with? Who are you going to eliminate in this one?
Michael.
Michael.
Because nowhere in the movies did they state that he's a supernatural being.
Okay.
He's still a man who won't fucking die. But Jason, though. Jason's brutal. So I think Michael's gonna die.
Alright. Fair enough. Actually, shocked everybody, I'm going to actually go Michael as well. I really think, after I just went ahead, I'm playing devil's advocate and first I was like, oh, Freddy gets in the real world in a sec. Freddy got put in a real world, and guess what? He actually put a pretty good goddamn fight against Jason. Now, it wasn't Uber Jason, and it wasn't 3 other villains, but he held his own. Like, he definitely held his own longer than most of the teenagers now, or cops he's went up against before, or whatever. I mean, I've seen sheriffs go after him. I've seen SWAT team go after Jason, and he killed every fucking one of them. So, Freddy was able to hold his own with a good fight with him. So, Michael, I'll agree with you. Now, I do think he is supernatural. I think that there are some things to throw him, but it's never, like, officially stated. It's a theory at best. Everybody's just like, I've been doing research. It matches up, but it never does say one way or another. And in fact, the producer's cut, which is not canon, because once again we're going with the curse, not the origins of Michael Myers. There's a ridiculous scene where Paul Rudd throws down some ruins and Michael stops and freezes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really glad that's not a part of the actual thing. So yeah, Michael can be wounded, taken down, and once again he also got kind of punked out by Jamie Lee Curtis in the first movie. I mean, pop in the eye, whatever. And I feel like with him, it's the element of surprise. At this point, we're in a battle royal. Everybody knows he's there. Like, when soon as Jamie Lee Curtis knows he's there, she can get away from him, she can fight back, everything else, whereas the other teenagers, he's able to get the drop on him. And that's why he kills them. When someone's face-to-face with him, there's a final girl for a reason. So I'm going to take Michael as well. So we got 2 against Michael, 1 against Freddy. It's your vote right now.
I know he's my guy and all, but I'm going to say Freddy.
You're going Freddy.
And the reason because, Jason and Freddy, they've already had a matchup in which, Jason won. Spoiler alert. I do believe that if there was a 3-way dance, as they call it, like wrestling, I think that Freddy would put up a pretty good fight against Jason. But I do think at the end of the day, Jason would be too much for Freddy to handle, and I do think that Jason would eliminate Freddy from the fold. So
fair enough. So that's 2 for Michael, 2 for Freddie. So according to Twitter, without giving out the rest of the results, the one that ranked the lowest of these 3, Michael Myers. He's eliminated. Michael is eliminated right now. Josh, how is Michael eliminated? You gotta rewrite your story now. You had it initially with Freddie, but now you gotta rewrite it.
Yeah, Michael tried really hard, but with no element of surprise, he's just going square mano a mano. Jason's gonna look for him because he's the biggest body, and Jason is kind of smart, but is also really stupid. But I feel like he takes out the big threats first, always leaving the last girl, as in most horror films.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Freddy is definitely the last girl in this situation. So Jason prioritizes. And let's not forget that he has a cyborg brain, so that's helping him strategize how to win this fight. So he goes straight up to Michael and gives him the old 1-2.
Gives him the Julius punch from part 8. Just bam! Bam! Knocks his head off. I love it. I love it.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Exactly. So we're down to our final 2. It's Freddy Krueger. It's Uber Jason in the woods. Kayla, who gets eliminated? Who's getting killed in this one?
Definitely Freddy.
Freddy's out.
Freddy's careless.
Yeah.
Like, he's just careless. It's annoying. At least Jason is like, he's brutal and he's full of revenge and hate. He's like, I'm just gonna chop things up. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to torture people beforehand. I just want to kill you.
That's it. He goes for the kill shot every single time. I'm going Jason, mostly because he's Uber Jason. I mean, that's really the trump card. It's like he's a cyborg. Like, I don't see any scenario where Freddy could bring him down. So yeah, I see Jason just tearing this dude apart. And I don't think it'll last much longer. I think once Myers gets his head knocked off, Freddy's like, oh fuck. And he's trying to limp away, and he's like, no, get back here. Yeah. At this point, like, he's just walking, but at this point, Freddy can't, run anyways. So that's pretty much it right there, I'm guessing. But we still got 2 more votes to go. So Freddy and Jason, who are you going to eliminate here?
Jason wins for the reasons that I've already said.
That's it right there.
So,
All right, make it unanimous.
basically, this is a victory speech.
Right there. This is it, exactly at this point. So
I don't know what brought me here.
Well, I would say, since he was your guy, how does he beat him? What's the final scene?
So, Jason beats Freddy in the most natural way. He cuts off his head, but with a little caveat, because I did like Freddy vs. Jason, the film, and I just recall Freddy's head being carried around, and I imagine that Jason X is going to take Freddy and strap him to his side and just carry him with
trophy
him.
now.
Well, I think he's still alive. Like, I think just the head, and he talks to him, and a little bit of company. Yeah. I like to think they're friends.
Kind of like Chucky, when Andy has the Chucky head inside of his safe or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And so because he taught me, he's just like, fuck you, Jason's like, no, keep you right there, buddy. What are you going to do? You're ahead,
That's kind of like Shaun of the Dead, too, how he keeps him like all chained up.
Nick Frost down
Don't bite me, damn it.
So Uber Jason wins. So, and I'm being presumptuous here. I don't know if you guys are going to return at all next month, but if you do, we'll all pick new ones. But you're going to stick with Jason or Uber Jason. So he's going to be returning champ next month, and we'll try to bring him down again. So it's going to be a tall order, I think, but there it is. So we're going to move on to our main event now. What we're here for. So really, I guess the couple things I want to talk about is, we kind of covered it a little bit with your intro into horror, but you can expand on it. What is it about horror that you just really love? Like, what is it, what brings you back to it? And I think, for me personally, it was always the tabooness of it. Now, I had really cool parents. My parents didn't really care what I watched. I'm sure there probably was a line somewhere, but I never crossed that line or was ever caught that line, so it wasn't a big deal. And so, but to me, it just seemed like whenever I would go out and at school, in elementary school, and I'm talking to our kids, I'm like, hey, I just saw, Freddy's Dead, Final Nightmare, it's crazy. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, what? You don't know this movie? And it just seemed like when I'm talking, bringing it up, my stepfather and his side of the family were very religious. So whenever I'm around them, and I'm at their house or whatever, saying my grandmother on that side, I would, be watching TNT or USA, back in the day, and they'd always be playing those movies, and I'd be watching, and they'd come in and just turn it off. I mean, you can't watch that. And just that, you can't watch it. Teachers would overhear me talking about horror movies with the other kids, and they'd always make that comment your parents shouldn't be letting you watch that kind of stuff. And I don't know, once again, not to go into a weird thing, but it's like, when you kind of grow up an outsider, I guess, in general, you do kind of gravitate to those fringe things, whether it's metal. Metal's kind of the outskirts of musical, you think. Like, most people are into pop or whatever is popular, but like metal's kind of like, well, that's kind of on the fringe, but the outsiders seem to go to that. Horror, same thing. I mean, not necessarily horror. It can be sci-fi, it can be fantasy as well. But it's always these kind of like genres that aren't really taken nearly as seriously as your drama and stuff like that. And so I guess it's just more my personality has always been more to that. And not just that, but I think as a kid, watching movies like this, it was like anything can happen. Like, as an adult, you watch a Friday the 13th movie, you're like, well, there's a formula. You know who's going to get killed the first 5 minutes and who's going to make it to the end. But when you're a kid, you don't know the formula. So when I watch a movie, it's just like, holy crap. These got killed. Like my favorite character, because I always love the funny guy. The fat funny guy is the best guy in the movie, and he gets killed like 10 minutes in. You're like, holy shit! Anything can happen, and just that feeling of like there's just anything. There's no rules, unpredictabilities. But I think that's what really drew me to it. And just that, and the fact that like as a kid, we watch a lot of kid movies. And I'm not knocking kid movies. I love kid movies. I love The Sandlot. I fucking love Three Ninjas. I'm all about that shit. But they're very safe, and there's really like with the exception of maybe like My Girl. No one's gonna get killed, no one's dying in that one. Still torped about that, I'm not gonna lie. No. Anyways, but no, so so when you watch a horror film, I just feel like it wasn't made for kids, and that's why I wanted to watch it. So I think that's this part of the discussion, and I'll end it there. But that was why I like that horror. What about you? What is about the horror genre in general that you just you love?
It's gonna sound kind of dark, but
go ahead. You're amongst friends. You're fine.
Whenever I was a kid, I was kind of a weird kid. Little bit.
You're fine.
Yeah. Well, because most of my, most people that I knew, like, they liked basketball and baseball and things like that. And I always liked movies.
Yeah.
That was always my thing. I always, loved movies. And I don't know, there was something about, like, the monsters I saw in, like, horror films that I kind of related to.
Okay.
In a way, because some of them were like outsiders and picked on and bullied and things like that. So that's kind of why they lashed out the way they did. So I don't know. I felt like I kind of related to them like in some way. So that was kind of why I was so drawn to horror. And also I think it was because too, kids are not supposed to watch these movies, right? See, so for me, it was like this, like a forbidden thing, which, my parents were fairly cool too. They didn't really care what I watched, and as long as I wasn't watching porn or something like that, but, so, yeah, and it was just cool because a lot of my friends or people that I knew, they were not watching these movies. But I was, so I felt like that made me kind of feel like higher up or whatever.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
You've got your own little club there. You're seeing something no one else is actually seeing at this point. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And Josh, it'll be interesting to hear from you because you didn't really gravitate to horror at a young age. It's a little bit later in life. So what is it about the horror genre that you do like? What is it now that you can be like, this is why I come back. This is why I return.
Yeah, I think for me, it's probably I've been an anxious person in my life in the past. Now I'm not, but I think that's probably what initially interested me, was just having that feeling, but a controlled feeling of that feeling. It's the way that it expresses some of true spirituality through horror. I think it's very surprising that it tends to be the avenue of these directors that have done a lot of psychedelic drugs. They go through these very, very spiritual but very gruesome horror films, and that's what I like. Is just that they're going a little bit past what I think people are really thinking it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's what drew me to it more as I'm progressing.
I'll agree with that, because I think Ari Aster, the guy who did Midsummer and Hereditary, it's like that dude definitely has some issues with death, because his themes are always very depressing, and you watch those movies, they're brutal to watch, they really are. But and Mike Flanagan, I don't know if you guys ever watched Hunting the Hill House on Netflix, but like that guy, his themes are usually
very good show.
Oh, brilliant show! But like I said, you can tell there's something in his past or maybe not in his past, maybe something that's inside of him that he's confronting with all these movies, because I said there's
it's like he's kind of afraid of death.
Yeah, there's definitely he's definitely poking it. So
did Flanagan just do another film recently?
He did Dr. Sleep, and then
Dr. Sleep was great. Okay,
I love Dr. Sleep.
I was thinking about where I recognize
he's
that name.
Now he's doing the second season of Hill House, but it's called The Haunting of Bly Manor. It's going to be
Is it like a spin-off?
it's going to be another. Yes and no.
Or
They're being very vague. It's going to be it's going to be like American Horror Story, how it's a different story each time.
This is streaming on Netflix,
This
right?
will be on well,
streaming on Netflix.
Netflix.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but
Yeah.
Netflix, you want to drop us a line. Yeah.
So like an anthology series.
Yeah, definitely. And I forget the story it's based on. Oh, the Turning of the Screw, that story. It's going to be based on that. So, but yeah, no, definitely. So you're more drawn to the meaning behind these horror films and the different layers, I guess, of it, the emotions, stuff like that. What about you, Kayla?
I also feel the same as him too. I like horror movies that had meaning to them. That's what I gravitated towards as a kid. I also like the fact that, like, I was a very bored and also anxious kid, so movies were my escape. And I liked that watching horror movies, I could control if I wanted to keep watching it or not.
Yeah.
Whereas in my daily life, I could not control that.
Can't hit pause on life, yeah.
Yeah, so what drew me to that was, like, I don't know, got the adrenaline going, and it also had an effect on my art because I was also like a really artistic kid, so I would draw horror themes and shit. Obviously, I get in trouble for it, cause some drama, but it just made me feel more creative too because I realized I have a lot of dark things in me.
Yeah.
And horror movies let me explore that in my head without feeling like guilty or sick.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that's another thing that I didn't really touch on, but I agree with that as well because making Unspeakable Acts, we did a lot of fucked up shit on that, but it was just like, that's the stuff that I do find truly disturbing, and so to be able to kind of confront that and look at that was, as an outlet to that, and so yeah, no, I definitely, on a certain level, I agree with that too, because it's just like, it's a way for you to kind of suss out your own issues, but then do it, in an artistic way, so the next part of this I want to try and talk about is, within the horror community, there's always debate as to what do you classify. Now, these are petty arguments, obviously, nothing serious. But it is interesting when people start getting like arguments about, well, what is a horror movie? Like, what constitutes a horror? Like, what makes a horror movie a horror movie? It's funny because when Silence of the Lambs, was nominated for Academy Award, like the Academy didn't want to say it's a horror film. They're like, that's a thriller. And the funny thing is, I've heard that for so long, I do kind of follow now. I'm the kind of...
They actually call that a drama.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can go either way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I can see both sides of that. Jaws, which I think we can all agree is a horror film, but I've even seen people say, like, no, that's a, high adventure on the sea.
I think it's more of a thriller.
And thing is, like, if you say
horror.
Jaws isn't horror, and whatever, but it's like, well then Jurassic Park kind of falls in that thing, because like I don't consider Jurassic Park a horror film at all, but it's like,
No, that's sci-fi.
But the thing is, though, it's like, it's kind of the same thing, though. There's a lot of jump scares, there's some, terrifying sequences, but what makes it different? Why is Jaws and Jurassic Park two very different things? You look at, movies like, I know when Bride of Chucky came out, a good example. I remember that came out in 98, or 97, and I remember a lot of people was like, it's a horror comedy. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's a horror movie. Like, it's funny in it. Like, they definitely amped up the comedy in Bride of Chucky, but it's like, that's a horror movie. But then they're like, oh, it's a horror comedy. But it's like, well, wait a minute. Shaun of the Dead's a horror comedy.
See, it's all of you that said that there wasn't a difference is why we got Seed of Chucky.
That's it right there.
They were like, no, this is definitely
we're
comedy.
showing you comedy
This is
right now.
horror comedy. It's different.
And so I always feel like, Alien's another one, is it sci-fi, is it horror, what is it, and then the thing is, like,
It's a horror
with each
sci-fi.
of the sequels, though, it's like, there's different vibes, like,
Yeah.
to me, I feel like Alien is definitely a horror film, but, like, Aliens is not, but it's like, why not? Like, why is the difference there?
Yeah.
And so, Jason, we'll come to you. What constitutes a horror movie? Like, what is a horror movie, and why are certain movies maybe considered not, or why do certain movies get lumped in and they don't deserve to be, or what movies maybe are horror films that people try to blow off like they're not?
Well, you were talking about, the Academy, like anytime somebody, like if something's nominated for like Best Picture, they're not going to call that a horror film.
Right.
Like with like Silence of the Lambs, Get Out, The Shape of Water, although those all had like elements of horror in them, they were not going to call them that. I think for a movie to be considered a horror movie, oh Lord, well, it definitely has to have scares in it, of course. It has to have scares. Gore sometimes helps that, which, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just. There seems to be this debate, though. Even whenever a film clearly is a horror film, there might be some people say, oh no, that's a drama, or that's a thriller, or that's a psychological thriller, or things like that. So I don't know. It seems to be a matter of opinion, I guess, on
Okay.
what's a horror film. I guess.
Very subjective, I guess.
These days, yeah.
Josh?
Genres aren't real, just like words aren't real. We made them up to define what things are to help us find what we're looking for.
Okay.
So I mean, it's gonna be horror if you think it is.
That's interesting. I like that. Absolutely.
It's more than just there's nothing that it is, but you know what it is.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I like that. Kayla.
I kind of feel like horror does have some distinguishable elements to it compared to like thrillers and what have you. But I feel like horror movies have three main things: gore of some type, like human mutilation, the fear of it never ending, like just loopholes and all kinds of shit, and then it gets talked about for years and years of how fucking disturbing it was.
Okay.
I feel like those are like the three basics of a horror movie, and although they're like jump together in thrillers and sci-fis, I feel like you can't help but call it horror.
Yeah.
I mean, you could call it horror sci-fi, you could call it a dark comedy. It's still horror.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm definitely gonna take Kayla's side on this one. I feel like
I think you're an idiot.
but I think I feel like there are certain elements that make horror, and I feel like it's the filmmaker's intent is what makes a horror film a horror film.
Right.
I feel like if your intention is to disturb people on different levels. I think gore has a certain element to it. The thing is, if you watch like a movie like Punisher Warzone, very gory as hell.
Very violent.
But once again, not a horror film. But once again, that was never the intent. Like, that was definitely a violent comic book movie, Whereas I feel like it's all about how they're trying to, And I feel like, there are different types of horror. And I think that's why there's so many different subgenres and why these debates get brought up in the first place. I feel like you have the crowd that is the extreme crowd, the gore crowd, the ones that are, doing the Hostels, the Saws, stuff like that. And whereas, you can watch Saw and be like, that's not scary at all. But somebody's like, that's terrifying because the idea of having to lop your own foot off,
if that happened to you, that'd be
exactly.
scary. Okay?
And so I feel like to a certain level it is subjective, but at the same time it's like clearly they were trying to get a reaction out of you. It wasn't just a hey, look how cool this is. It's like no, we want you to squirm in your seat when you see this person put their
and
hand.
And that ending of Saw too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Exactly.
Where he gets up off the ground. I did not expect that.
I didn't either. A lot of people I've talked to are like, yeah, I saw it coming. Like I didn't. Like I
didn't at all see that coming. I
don't think I had that conversation with you. So I'm not throwing shade at you because I know we've had that conversation with other movies where I'm just like, you didn't fucking know that. I guarantee you. But I don't think we ever talked about Saw. But anyways,
I didn't see it coming.
But
sure.
And then you get movies that are just disturbing for the sake of being disturbing. Serbian film, Human Centipede, Cannibal Holocaust, stuff like that, where it's like, Cannibal Holocaust really isn't a horror film. It's definitely like that fits the description of a adventure. It's filmmakers going out to record and document these tribes, but just shit goes wrong, and then of course it comes cannibal. But at the same time, it's like there's nothing scary about it. Like there's no jump scares. There's nothing that's. But once again, it's like no, they're trying to shock you. Like they're trying to show you like the dark side of humanity.
Like Green Inferno.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
They make you feel like, well, what if this shit happened to me?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what gets me is when I start putting myself in the actual
Yeah,
shoes.
exactly. See, because somebody might say, well, that's not scary. Well, what if that was you in that situation?
Exactly. No, I
if
totally
you
agree.
saw your best friend being eaten, okay, you're gonna be like,
and your
well,
help was
scary.
exactly. Yeah.
Like if you just had to like slit your neck because you're like, well, all hope is lost. That
Yeah.
could be you.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's where that's where it's going to fall. I mean, at the end of the day, it will always be subjective. Like you said, it's going to be your personal opinion at the end of the day.
Right.
But like I said, I think with certain movies, you can classify it one way or another. Like for me, I don't consider Jurassic Park a horror film. It's sci-fi. I have a sci-fi section. Alien, I have it under horror, but Aliens under action. Alien 3, sci-fi. Why? Because it just feels that way. Like I can't explain it. Like when I watch it, it's like
There's cloning.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole
That's
more.
definitely sci-fi.
They definitely take and whereas Alien, yes, it's on a spaceship, but it's like that's not the focus of it. Like the focus is of Alien killing people one by one. Whereas with Aliens, it's about a bunch of Marines going in, taking out some fucking aliens. Like that feels like an action film to me. So that's kind of where I guess
It's hard to believe that was like the James Cameron and then he made like a Titanic. Like,
oh yeah, well, it shows his talent though. I mean, clearly, no,
exactly.
I mean, he knows how to do it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess to kind of wrap it up on that and get to our top 10, it's just I guess it's subjective, but I think it's also just filmmakers' intent. If it's meant to scare you, or even not maybe meant to scare you, but like meant to be a horror film. Like once again, after you get like a million Friday the 13th, it's like well none of them's scary, but at the end it's like it's still a horror film because it's like that's what they're meaning to do. It's like it'll be displayed with the other Friday the 13th in the horror section. Even though no scares. I mean, I cannot think of a Friday the 13th movie that I've ever been scared of ever. Like not one. Michael Myers scared me. He was a scary character.
Mm-hmm.
Freddy Krueger scared me as a kid because that was scary. But for whatever reason, Jason just never did. And I mean, that was just one of those. And like even the jump scares in the movie were never that big. Like
What about Jason's mom in the first Friday the 13th? I didn't know if she ever gave you that.
never gave me that. I'm not gonna lie. This is just even as a kid, a stupid kid, but a kid nonetheless. I was just crying, Chopper. But once again, it goes back to Michael Myers. She got the jump on everybody, and as soon as she reveals that she's a killer to Alice, guess what? She has trouble because that's what happens. She's not she's not a cold-blooded or she's not a well-oiled machine. She's just a old middle-aged lady who's getting wiped out or whatever. So, but yeah, no, never found it scary or anything. So, all right, guys, I think we gotta get to our top 10 right now. Josh, we'll start with you. What is your number 10 favorite horror film of all time?
Number 10, and I'll consult my list to make sure that I'm correct, but I'm pretty sure.
I will say real quick before you go down, I will say this was the most difficult list to get because 1 through 5, easy. 6 and 7, okay, I don't know which one's going to be which, but then it was like, from like 8 to like 19, I could throw anything in there. Like I felt like I was leaving shit off all the time, so it was tough getting it boiled down, but go ahead, number 10.
I found myself leaving stuff off at the end and then realizing that no, these should be like number 3.
Yeah, I did the same
So,
thing.
yeah.
I did the same thing.
My number 10, I did this intentionally, is Jason X.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I love Jason X. I think it is so fun and so ridiculous. It really leans into the idea of this is the stupidest character that was ever invented. and it's an abomination, and I love it because it's just fun. Just good old camp fun.
Oh, absolutely. Kayla, what do you think about Jason X?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's sometimes bad movies are just really fun to watch.
I agree, totally agree.
Bad movies, like not this movie.
right.
Not Jason X. Bad movies.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
The other bad movie.
The other bad
Okay,
movie.
not this movie.
Okay,
so.
we're in a different category.
With
Not good.
like I love Jason X. I'm a huge fan and I'm a defender of it. Whereas I will agree, it's a horribly made movie and it hasn't aged well because the CGI is so garbage. It's like goddamn, like it was 2001. Like Jurassic Park and Terminator 2 looks great. How did that movie just slip through the cracks?
Practical effects.
but no, it was like, it's a fun movie and it knows what it is. I think that's the other thing. It wasn't trying to be anything else. It was like, we got some extra time in the schedule. Freddy vs. Jason, we're still trying to get that worked out. Let's just make a fun Jason slaughtering kids in space movie. And I love it. Like, it really is just brilliant.
I think it's the one to do it well, too, because
Yeah.
Leprechaun in space,
No,
awful.
brutal.
The Hellraiser,
Yeah,
where
Hellraiser 4
is okay
Bloodlines.
where they go into space, but Jason X is
They
space done right.
nailed it right. They nailed it right.
It's actually the future.
What do you think about Jason X?
I love Jason X, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm still hoping for a sequel someday. to
Jason X
X.
2, I agree.
It's X squared.
X squared, yes,
Square.
yes.
I'm so hoping for that sequel. But I remember, was it 2001 when this
Yeah.
came out? I was at the theater in Bloomington, one of them, and they had a poster that said like "You're coming soon,"
Mhm.
Jason X, and that poster is so cool. By the way.
Yeah.
It's got like like a half Jason and half like your robot Jason or whatever he is.
I came very soon when I saw that.
Yeah. And yeah, I was just super excited about it. I'm like, oh my god, that looks so awesome. Then I watched it and I'm like, okay. But but I still love it.
Oh, yeah.
So just because it's cool, so.
Kayla, what's your number 10?
Number 10, are we like going from worst to best?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. So your least favorite on your list, yeah. Your number 10.
Least favorite. God, what if my least favorite is also the one I hate? I mean, the love. What if I love it too?
It's whatever, yeah, I mean, you're
Okay.
10, so however you want to do it.
I'm gonna go with A Christmas Horror Story. It's on Hulu. It's an anthology horror series, and it's so cheesy, and like there's so many twists and turns, like psychologically, but it was also really bad. It was one of those movies like you have to watch it. You have to watch it, and you have to watch it with friends and popcorn.
Okay.
Oh, it's the kind of movie you're like, oh, damn, didn't see that coming.
So it's a party film kind of thing.
It's
really.
a party film, and it's like low budget, but it's so cool, so dumb.
I don't have an opinion on it. I haven't seen it. I remember when it came out, when I saw the thing, you know, Krampus was out at the time, and Rare Exports were out, and I watched both of them, and I loved both of those movies. I want to see Christmas Horror Story. I've heard split things. I heard some people say they really like it. I heard some people say it's just like garbage. But I'm never really swayed by public opinion, so I check it out, but I haven't seen it.
I've watched it, and let me just say this. Santa Claus versus Krampus. Hell yeah.
I really
Place your bets.
I mean, you know, what else do you need to know? I mean, watch that movie, okay?
There it is. You heard it here first, folks.
Those elves, though.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think about American Horror Story, or American Christmas Story?
I think I've never seen it,
There's
but from the description, I would say definitely bring some alcohol or smoke during it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna
Yes.
make it more fun.
For me, my number 10 is the original. Now, I'm gonna just go ahead and say this right now. All these are original, with the exception of one, but it's a foreign remake. But everyone's original, and I'm gonna go Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Cool. And
honestly, it's just one of those like that's a movie I can put on right now and just start cleaning the house, and it's just like I don't know, it's soothing to me. I guess, and really, I guess without going blowing this movie right now, I just have special memories of this is a movie that my mom wouldn't let me watch when I was a kid. This and The Exorcist were the two she just did not want me to watch, and so when I finally got around to watching both movies, I wasn't big on The Exorcist originally, but we won't get to that at all. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I fell in love with, and I think it was the realness of it. It had a very gritty look to it. It almost felt like documentary style, even though clearly it's not shot that way. It just I don't know, and now like it's based loosely on the Ed Gein murders. There was no, that was in Wisconsin, so there's no, yeah, and so there's no chainsaw, there's no nothing in Texas. But as a kid, you don't know that, so I'm watching like, holy shit, this is real! Like I've lost my shit watching it. And I'm just like, and it's so minimal. Cause that's the thing. Everybody, when you talk about, it, it's like, oh, it's so gory. It's gory. It's like, no, it's not. It's very minimal on gore. It's just your mind's telling you how bloody it was, because that's how well it's shot. And then to me, the most terrifying shot of the movie is at the very end when Sally jumps in the back of the truck and she's like, go, go, and you just see a POV shot of her. And you see Leatherface come to that truck, and it's like, God damn, like, you can't run. You're in the back of the truck. You're hoping this guy hits the gas quickly, and he has a chainsaw that has reach to it. I don't know why, but that scene gets me every time. It's like, fuck, get out of there, go, hit the gas. So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what are your thoughts on that?
Love it.
Yeah.
Of course, love it. Like you said, whenever I was a kid and I watched it, and it said, based on a true story, and then it says if there ever was a Leatherface, he's still at large, and I'm like, holy fuck, he's still out there. But yeah, no, it was just so well done. It was so well told. I mean, it could happen to any of us. You know, say you're going on like a road trip for a day or a weekend or whatever, and you're just driving around in the country, and your car breaks down, and these nice people are going to help you, and
well,
so yeah.
Josh, what about you? Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's good.
Good. Yep.
It's pretty good. I feel like it's the kind of movies that you're like actual serial killers could take inspiration from, and that's made me paranoid. So I'm like, yeah.
Reminds me of the scene in American Psycho where when you see Christian Bale working out, he's either watching porn or he's watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I always found that so. In fact, when I did the self-isolation, that's where I got inspiration from. Yeah. So in self-isolation, when I shot it, I'm doing these masturbation scenes, and it didn't come across in the movie, but initially, what I'm listening to is the first masturbation scene's porn, but the second one is a woman being chased in the woods, being killed, and I'm like, that's so fucked up, but that's what I added in the movie initially. Now, the music's covered it up, and it doesn't come through now, but yeah, that was the initial intent. What's your number 10, Jason?
The Stepfather.
Oh, okay.
The
original
Stepfather.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not the not the remake. I love The Stepfather. The reason why is because it's so basic. It's this guy that moves in, and the mother loves him, and the kid loves him, and he's really this insane killer. And like I just watched this whenever like I was young, and I remember I had several friends that had like stepfathers, and I just kind of thought like, you know, what if one of them is like a killer, you know? So yeah, it's simple, but it's still scary. I think, in my opinion, So very good film. Very good film.
You see Stepfather?
I've not seen it, but I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
It's 2020, whatever. When I was a kid, I'd go to my grandmother's house because she had Cinemax, and she went to bed early. So this guy would stay up and watch Cinemax, and around 10 o'clock to 11, that's when the dirty stuff came on. But to get to the dirty stuff, there's always Passion Cove, Emmanuel, whatever. It was all good. Yeah. But usually leading up to that, there was always a horror movie. Like Cinemax was just like the trash of the movie channels. And so I saw Stepfather. Actually, I saw a lot of horror films that way, but Stepfather was one of the watch. And but it was one of those that maybe I didn't see on Cinemax, but I always put back and forth like, there's naked woman yet? No, not yet. Okay, go back to Stepfather. No, I had a stepdad too, and not to drug anything up. Big on the guy. And so I watched this movie. I'm just like, maybe he is a serial killer. Maybe I should take him down before he gets to me first. No, I enjoyed it as well. Josh, what is your number 9?
Number 9 is I limited myself to one selection from this franchise.
I did that too, yeah.
Is Saw 2.
Saw 2.
Solid
pick.
I like
Death
the
Mask.
ensemble cast. I thought it was a lot. I thought it did what Saw 1 did, but a little more fun, and did it in a different way with a bigger cast. Because 1 was really slow and deliberate, and this one was kind of a little more bombastic, I guess. It was starting out with the SWAT team going through the house. I mean, it was fun. I liked it, and the good twist,
Oh, hell,
if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. Avoid spoilers, because it's cool.
Kayla, what'd you think of Saw 2?
I agree with him.
Yeah?
I don't remember exactly, but there was a needle.
Yeah, that was a needle
jumped
hit.
in and had, that shit got me. I'm like, this is way more effective. Is like stupid little stuff like that just, I don't know, make me nervous.
The junkie pit.
Yeah. The junkie pit.
Saw 2 is my favorite of the Saw series as well. Big fan of it. And like you said, what it did was they took the idea of part 1 and to do what sequels should do, and they take that concept and expand it. And so now instead of having 2 guys locked in a room together, they got a whole cast in a house, and now there's like fun death traps in every room. Each of the traps were messed up, from the needle pit to the guy inside the fucking furnace, and he has to catch himself on fire. It's like,
the girl with the...
that was the dumbest one though. Like I was like, did you not realize that? Like, come on. Like I'm watching, I go, don't do it.
The defense of that though is it's late in the game, and you have to remember that they're fumed and gashed the whole time.
And that thing is, and you see her too when she walks up to it. She sees a note, she just throws it to the side. It's like, fuck it, I need that sweet gin, I need that antidote in there. Oh, well, fuck. Okay, I hated her.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm stuck here. But then having that one guy, I think his name is like Xavier or something like that, the big fucking dude that turns psychotic. Like to have him go crazy midway through and start hunting him down. In fact, once again, your last 2 is like, this woman, which you think is innocent at the time, it turns out to be, don't want to give me things away, but and then the kid, and it's just like, that's pretty messed up, because that guy would kill both of them in a heartbeat, so then the chase, but great twist, and I just love that there's 2 stories going on at once. So while this house of horror is going on, you got Jigsaw and the cops up in his lair, and once again, the way
Donnie.
And so
Donnie Wahlberg. Let's go.
And so the fact that it's interesting to see how it plays out and everything. So I love Saw 2. What's your thoughts on Saw 2?
I like Saw 2. Like I saw it in the theater when it first came out, like 2005-ish.
Yeah.
And I remember the opening scene really well, where like the key.
Oh, behind
then that death mask closes. It's like a mask that's got like spikes on both sides, and the theater was full. And I remember everybody laughing whenever that happened, and I was like, "What the?"
What's wrong with you?
Oh man.
So it's definitely I think a step up from part 1. So it's good.
I love 1 too, but it's like I agree. 2 is definitely my
I
favorite.
think it ages really well.
Yeah, no.
The farther we get away.
Honestly, a
from
lot
the
of
series.
Saws do, surprisingly. I mean, all right, Kayla, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Pet.
Pet?
I don't know if you've seen it. It's about this guy who's obsessed over a waitress, and the story plays out as if like he's crazy and he's like crazy obsessed with his girl, so he keeps her in a cage and like has her wear a diaper. And
Yeah, you told me about this movie. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I remember you talking about that.
so throughout the whole movie, he's trying to like convince her that he loves her, and then he's there to help her. And I'm gonna spoil it. Towards the end of the movie, we find out that he has her in there to protect people from her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that she's actually the psycho killer. It's
See,
a fun twist too.
I remember you told me that because I actually had an idea for a movie at one point, and I ran it by her and I was like, I need to make this movie work and make it kind of likable, the character. When I said, the guy capturing a girl, and then like, I was trying to make a romantic comedy out of this weird situation, but she's like, you need to watch Pet, and I was like, oh, this is way too similar to what I was going to do, and I was like, I scrapped it. I was like, I can't do it now. Even though it's different, it's still too similar, so I didn't. But I had never seen it. What, Pet?
I know, I never have.
No. But I definitely want to check it out, and it does sound pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely will check it out.
My number 9 is Nightmare on Elm Street. Once again, I feel like mine's that generic cliched list, but it's like, these are cliched for a reason. These are damn good movies. And really, this goes back to my childhood. It was one of the first films that really terrified me. Only a handful really scared me when I was little, and that was one of them. And like I said, I picked this one over the rest of them because honestly, I don't think any of the other ones would ever even make like my top 20 or maybe my top 30. They're good, and I enjoy them. It is my least favorite franchise of the big three because I really feel like this is the strongest entry. New Nightmare would be part number 2 for me, and then Dream Warriors. And after that, they're fun. It's Jason X fun though. It's goofy. It's just like I can watch Freddy's Dead right now, and it's great, but it's just like. It's like eating cotton candy. It's just fluff. That's all it is. Whereas the first time on Elm Street, I really feel like there's a lot of substance there. I love a strong female lead. I think Nancy's probably my favorite final girl of all time. Even though it is a bit ridiculous that she literally gets that house home alone in like 5 minutes. I was like, wow, that's a lot of shit you just did there. I think that would take longer than that. Like the montage was like 5 minutes, but this is what the fuck. But whatever. She, is able. She's a good adversary to Freddy Krueger, and Freddy Krueger's not cracking wise here. Like, yeah, he does a few goofy whatever, but it's like it's dark. He's like, look at this, and chops his finger off. It's like there's nothing funny about that. Like that's just him being a fucking dick. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street.
The one Nightmare on Elm Street that I would put up there is New Nightmare.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. It's my number 2 of the group because, like I said, it has more of a serious vibe to it. Like I love the serious ones. I really do. What do you think about Nightmare on Elm Street?
I love Nightmare on Elm Street. It's actually my number 2 on my list.
There you go. So there it is.
So yeah, no, it's just such a good film. I mean, it's got scares to it. It's got that, it definitely has that feel to it, that slasher feel, and of course it's got the teenage lead, So, but I think my favorite scene in it is whenever he's like taking his claw and it's like down the wall, and she's like, "Oh God, this is God."
This is God. Yes.
I always thought that was cool. So, I mean, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about Nightmare on Elm Street?
Really like it. Nancy is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
She's so pretty. Had a huge crush on her
Oh,
every time I watched it.
Mm.
But yeah, I love the first Nightmare.
Yeah. Number 3?
Same.
Hell yeah. All right, what's your number 9?
Number 9, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Oh man,
There you go.
going controversial over here. I love it.
I know. Look, I get some haters here. I love this movie. It's my favorite movie of the Halloween franchise, except for the first Halloween, of course. The reason being is because it was original.
Yeah.
It was different. John Carpenter actually wanted to do a new story every Halloween. And of course that did not happen because people did not like this because they were waiting on Michael to show up, and he never does. Well, he actually is.
He's on TV first.
Yeah, on the TV scene, but yeah. But no, I just think it's so good. It's got that Halloween feel to it, the fall feel, and it's scary. I mean, it's one of those. It's very political.
Yeah.
If you will, because it shows how your corporate power corrupts and all of that. And if you've never seen the film, I know there's a lot of haters out there of this movie, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. But definitely, check it out. Don't listen to the haters because they're all wrong about this. It's actually a very good film. So.
What do you think about 3?
Haven't seen it.
Have y'all seen it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'll definitely check it out. I've never been interested in it, but I do love a good Halloween movie.
Definitely.
It's cliched, but the saying is always, Halloween 3 is a good movie. It's just not a good Halloween movie. Like you said, John Carpenter wanted to do anthology. His mistake was making Halloween 2, though. When you do part 2 with Michael Myers, then you can't just be like, all right.
That was supposed to end that storyline.
But once again, it's like, you should have done it. You could easily do 3 second, and then do part 2 later, but it's like, you fucked up, and that's so, any hate that comes toward it, I feel like, no, it's justified. Now, with that said, it's a damn good movie. It is creepy as hell. The, I don't know what you call them, but the people who work, the men in black, I guess, that follow them around, fucking creepy shit. And then just the way, the mask.
It's got that, like a Big Brother feel.
Yeah, no, it really does.
Yeah.
And then the mask that, fucking, the kids wear them, and it has the most annoying jingle.
One day still Halloween, Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
So, but no, I think it's a very solid movie. Like I said, it wouldn't be in my top whatever, but it is a damn good watch. And I do hate when people are just like, I hate because it doesn't have Mike Myers. Like, well, of course it doesn't have Mike Myers. It's like, it is what it is, though, You look past that.
It's not supposed to have Michael
Exactly.
Myers, okay?
You look past it, and, You're number 8.
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring.
Yep.
Nice.
Classic from the first shot, the single take, really going through the house. Great introduction. Thought it was fun and well paced.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. What'd you think of The Conjuring?
I feel like such a little bitch because when I first watched it, I got so paranoid. I have paranoid issues, so when I watched it, I couldn't sleep for a week. I don't know why.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I actually really enjoyed it, but no one else in my family was like, "Sleep is scary." I'm just like sitting over here losing sleep. I'm losing actual sleep for an entire week.
I loved it. I'm a fan of the Conjuring verse in general. I know, really, the Conjuring movies, no one really hates on that as much. But it seems like when you get to the spin-offs, everyone wants to shit on them. I love them all. I'm a big fan of Conjuring, but the weird thing is, I am sick of haunted house movies. I hate haunted house movies. And to me, it's like, what can you do? It hasn't been done a million times. And then James Wan's like, well, here, watch this. And he does it.
Then he does it twice.
Yeah, he does it twice. Yeah, back to back. And both movies are fucking solid. In fact, I rewatched both of them not long ago, and I gotta say, I think 2's actually my favorite now because it's so fucking creepy. They took a thing that's been done a million times and put a fresh spin, but they don't do anything really new. It's just it's hard to explain. Like it's just the way he does it. It really is. And no, I agree with you. Honestly, there's a handful of movies that I'm always kind of. It's good to see a movie that can actually scare you. And so whenever I'm watching The Conjuring, it's one of those movies where I'm just like, I'm not going to bitch out, I'm not going to put my hands on my eyes, but god damn it, we just hurry up and jump out and scare. I know you're there. And the scene where the cop, the deputy or whatever, he's just kind of assisting, when he sees that woman walk, and she's further in the room, she walks away, and he goes in there to look, and when he turns around, she's right there, like she comes out the side, all one take, and I jump. So, and even now, knowing it's going to happen, I'll still jaw like, fuck, yep,
Yeah.
You got me. Conjuring.
Like it.
Yeah. I don't say some of these you can't really repeat on this. It is what it is. What's your number 7? I'm doing on 7 now.
I actually.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just skipping everybody's 8. Fuck you guys. No more. Sorry. What is your number 8, Kayla?
I kind of changed some of my list, but I picked The Green Inferno.
Okay. Yeah.
Simply because cannibalism and flesh-eating ants.
Oh yeah.
Stuck in the wilderness with crazy people. That movie just made me feel hopeless, and it really pissed me off. The ending pissed me the fuck off, just because of what the girl did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie really messed me up.
I'm gonna skip to my comment. I haven't seen it, but I want to. I think it's gonna be great. I have to use the bathroom.
Yeah, go ahead. You're fine. For me, Green Inferno, I really love because I'm a fan of those old cannibal movies. Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox. I'm a big fan of both of those. I think those are really the top 2, really. I mean, there's other ones, but those really don't need to see. Not to get a whole thing here, because when it comes to the politics, I really feel I'm in the middle because there's certain things I agree with one side on, I agree on the other side on. But I do love this movie because typically when it comes to Hollywood, they always kind of try to portray the liberal side more nice. But here, they show you the dark side of the liberals, how they manipulate a little bit, and just and I'm not saying they all do that. And I mean, I don't want to get into the whole thing right there. Believe me. Fuck Trump, so I'm on your guys' side. But anyways, but no, I do like that. This group is just because even when I was definitely more on the liberal side, there's a lot of liberals that I hated because I was like, fuck, am I acting like that guy right now? And I love the fact that they do kind of they pretend like they're caring about these people, and then you can tell they don't. And then when the plane crashes, it's like, oh shit, the people you're pretending to care about now. are gonna fuck you up. So I love that part of it. Green Inferno.
Well, and I will go on that narrative too because I teach politics. So, I will just say this: there are idiots and assholes from like all walks of life.
Absolutely,
So
yeah. No matter what your
the
religion,
left or the right, a Christian, atheist.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter. But Green Inferno, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a terrifying movie.
Yeah.
And Eli Roth was the one that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was terrifying. I remember me and my wife watched it, and I kind of put myself in their shoes when I was watching it because I was just kind of like, okay, it'd be easy to say this is not that scary, but what if this was me right now in this situation? And what if I watch my best friend get eaten, and I'm over here like in a cage?
Yeah.
Is that gonna be scary to me?
Oh.
Absolutely. It's gonna be scary to me. So, yeah.
In the eye, the fucking thing in the eye.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so Josh here said he didn't see Green Inferno. So my number 8 is The Ring, and I'll talk about the American remake. It's funny because if I watch it now, it seems so cliched, and it's like it's not even scary. Like it's been so played out, but for whatever reason, I just hold it deep in my heart because this is a movie that terrified me in the theater, and I didn't see the original. I didn't know about Ringu or anything like that. And so when I first watched The Ring, I remember watching it and just all the quick cuts. The scene where the girl is dead in the closet, and they're like, "Oh, they found her in the closet." And this quick cut with loud noise, and they open up, and she's all, and goes down, jumped like 10 feet out of my chair. Of course, when Samara comes out of the TV, when she does that quick flash forward movement there, and for whatever reason, because of the fact that I was a VHS junkie myself, and I watched it, it's like, I would hate, I feel like I'd do that. If I saw VHS, like a black, unmarked one, I'd be like, what's on there? I'll check that out.
Put that thing in.
But I remember what really got me on this one was there was little things I didn't notice the first time. And so like when you watch it, the final thing in the scene is you see the well, cuts to the ring, video over. But then when Aiden is watching it and his mom comes in and stops him, if you look closely, Samara starts coming out of the TV, like out of the well. I mean, you only see it for a split second. You see her head pop up. TV cuts out, and she goes, "No!" and she turns it off. And I didn't notice that first time. So when I bought it on DVD, I'm sitting there by myself watching it, and I see that. I'm like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And I'm like, like this fucking real now. And so it was just, I don't know, that movie for whatever reason. And to me, I like The Grudge, but I feel like America really missed the point of doing J-horror, and I feel like they could not do it right. Like they tried numerous times, but The Ring was the first one, and the reason The Ring worked was they didn't try to do J-horror. They did it very like Gore Verbinski, I think is how you pronounce his name. He did the pirate movies. He went on from doing The Ring to like the pirate trilogy. But anyways, he had a very industrial look to his movie. It's very like 9 Inch Nails, very gloomy, and that whole fucking movie is great. Like that is and the fact you get a ticking clock. 7 days. And you're like, fuck, get going. And it's like, shit, you're wasting a day. What are you doing? 6 days, 5. And it's just like, what? And they don't get going until day 2. And you're like, what the fuck? So The Ring. Fucking love it. Your opinion?
I only watched The Ring one time, and it was whenever it came out. I think I was in high school. And I don't remember a lot about it. But I remember, I thought it was okay. But I didn't get all the hype about it, I don't think.
Fair enough.
But that was just my opinion, of course.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. Thought it was the one time they did do J-horror right. Mm-hmm. And, it's good.
I mean, it definitely doesn't age well. I think that's why the remake didn't work, is like, the era of VHS was, like, it was dead then. Like, even 2001, it was like, it was over an hour. 2002, I think it came out. Anyway, it was already over, so it just seemed like, it was even kind of dated then, but, it is what it is. What do you think about The Ring?
I didn't really see it. I saw like bits of it, but my introduction to it was through Scary Movie. So
yeah, I think it's also why people kind of frown on it too. They're just like, well, I saw the spoof of it, so I don't need to see the actual version of it. So, all right, so we're down to you. Your number 8.
My number 8 is Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh,
Part 2. And the reason why I like Part 2 is because it's the first time we see Jason.
okay.
Of course, because in the original, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. And Jason's supposed to be dead, but of course he's been living out, like in the woods, and he's still alive, right? So he's going to kill everybody because his mother died right now.
Yeah.
That's his revenge now. So, yeah, I just, I enjoy it. It's got that slasher feel to it, and I just love it, so.
Fair enough.
It's my least favorite. It ditches the non-supernatural vibe and goes supernatural. So, but I'm okay with it because it eventually brings me Jason X.
There you go. So we got you your win today.
It goes full circle.
Friday 13th Part 2.
Not a huge fan of Friday the 13th, but I feel like it's good to get me in the mood for like Halloween stuff, where I just want to stay home and watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a huge thing for me.
Fair enough. I'm a huge fan of Friday 13th Part 2. In fact, it's my number 4. I could have put 3 different Friday 13s in my top 10, and I had whittled down to just one. Honestly, and this is a hot take, I love Part 5, and I love Part 1. And 5, 1, and 2 are my tops. The reason why I go 2 is, to me, this is the most, without making it negative, this is the most generic slasher movie, but it took the formula and ran with it. Great kills. Dude in the wheelchair, Mark, gets machete in the face. I love that Jason is just like...
Down the steps.
Yeah! And that is down there. Those are like porch, and then there's like a whole fucking exorcist staircase just somewhere in the woods. It's just like, he rolls up the porch, rolls up 3 steps, and then somehow this other staircase comes out of nowhere, and he just rolls in the whole thing. The double spear penetration thing, where Jason just, the couple's banging, and he just boom. It's also a movie that, this is something I've been noticing a lot. I'm a big fan of 80s teen sex comedy. But it being 2020, when you watch these movies, you're just like, oh. And if there's a character, I forget the guy's name already, but he's the guy who's after the hot chick who had the dog. I forget her name too.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
This dude's a fucking sexual predator, and today
you got that slingshot,
she's just jogging, and he just hits her in the ass. You just look at her like,
if that happened today,
it's just like, dude, that's a fucking creep movie. And then when she's skinny dipping, he takes her clothes away from her, and you're just like, yeah, this doesn't age well at all. And so, but you actually are kind of rooting for him to kill at this point. But I mean, when you're a kid, you're like, boys will be boys, I guess, but doesn't age well at all.
And let me just say something. Nobody boycott Friday the 13th Part 2. Okay? I'm just saying.
Well, it's okay because he gets his in the end. Jason, he fought for her.
Yeah, but nobody boycotted, okay?
He killed her too, though, so I guess it doesn't matter. But no, I think it has the best kills. It follows the formula fucking near perfect, and then literally, once again, we get Jason. The fact that it is kind of dumb, so you didn't drown. Why didn't you just come out and tell your mom before she went on a killing spree? At any point, you could have been hey, Mom, I'm over here. Even if he was, mentally challenged or deformed, he could have been over here, and she's just like, oh, shit, I just killed 2 campers. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? We're good. I'll stop.
My bad.
No, but, I'll overlook it because it's a horror film, and I have a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, that's my number 4, so I'll skip when we get to that. We're up to number 7 now. What is your number 7?
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
It's classic, it's good, it's realistic yet completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
I love his first kill of the homeless guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a great way to set the pace of the film, and it kills the dog.
Yeah.
It's it's weird that the movie makes you feel worse about the dog than the homeless guy.
I think in general,
for me,
it's always the case. No, I mean, I thought you never kill the dog. You try not to kill the dog, and that's what they always say, never kill the dog, but yeah.
It definitely made me feel worse about the dog as soon as I hear that.
Yeah.
Great
I'm
film.
always out. Once I hear animals being killed in movies, I
yeah.
can't do it.
What do you think about American Psycho?
I have such mixed feelings about it, but mostly I just watched it. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with Christian Bale? Seriously, what happened at the end? I still don't understand it to this day, but other than that, I do like it.
I will say, in all honesty, I thought I knew how the movie was going, and then I mean, in my head, I honestly thought the movie was going. It played out a different way, and then when I listened to the commentary, it's like, oh shit, it's more straightforward than that. I honestly didn't think he was a killer. I thought this was all a fantasy in his head. That's how I always took it. I watched that movie and it was just like, this is the fantasy of a sick man who wishes he was a serial killer.
Yeah.
And because there's just certain things that, when he's having sex with the prostitutes, and he's got, he's buff and Christian Bale, he's in front of the camera doing this, and he's just banging away. But then when he has sex with his friend's girlfriend or his friend's wife, he's fully clothed and he has his pants still on. Like, it's the weirdest, like, you're so insecure. And so I always assumed, like, him having sex with prostitutes was, like, his fantasy. Whereas the real life is, like, he can't be that way. And so I thought, like, everything, like, all the kills were just in his head. And then I listened to the commentary, and I forget the woman's name, Mary here, or something like that. She said, well, we played it real. And I was like, what? And so the movie I thought was brilliant. I gave it like, 10 stars out of 5 or whatever. And then after hearing like what's more straightforward, it's like, it kind of hurt it for me. Going back and rewatching it, I do like it. I think imagery's good. I think it's really well done. But the fact that like I guess it once again it's no one's fault but my own. I just thought it was all in his head. That's my fault. That's me. That's me just being stupid watching the movie, I guess. But when you find out that like no, I mean there is some reality bending stuff that clearly does happen. But at the same time, it's like. No, he was a serial killer that just got away with it in the end. And it's just like, oh, okay, I guess, I was disappointed. Because to me, that was the horror of it was whenever his secretary goes into his office and pulls out the book and there's all the drawings of naked women being tortured and murdered. It was just like, this is his sick fantasy. Like, this is what he wants to do. And that was, I thought, was the twist. Was just like, he because, he didn't do it, but it is what it is. Jared Leto does great in it. Christian Bale does great in it. And the scene of him running in his underwear covered in blood with a chainsaw, and the girl's just running down the stairs, he's just like...
Yeah.
And boom! And I'm just like, dude, that's some precision right there, but it is what it is. American Psycho, what do you think?
I like American Psycho, and I think it makes fun of, like, the 80s, a bit of yuppie culture.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Because... the business card scene always gets me.
Yeah, I like it.
They're all, they all got their business cards out. They're like, oh, look at this. Oh, my God, look how...
And how Christian Bale, like, freaks out, just like, is that eggshell white?
And they all look the same to me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What is this? But, yeah, it's just funny to see that, like, those little things were important.
Or how they're all doing cocaine in the other room, or in the bathroom, and, like, one guy's like, you guys be quiet now, we're trying to do cocaine over here. It's just like,
and that one scene where they're in the bathroom and that one guy's at the, like, in a urinal, but he, like, goes up to, like, put his hands.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
guy's like, and then he's just like, and then, like when he washes his gloves and stuff, like, it's just, I mean, it's a very different film. I don't know of any other film that I would compare it to.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing of its own for sure.
Yeah, but no, it's very good. It's a very, like, original film. And there was also a sequel too that wasn't nearly as good.
Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
Had William Shatner in it too, so
yeah,
William Shatner fan.
Yes,
you need to get your Star Trek and your 70s show fix. Guess what? There's one movie that has it all.
I'm pretty sure this doesn't exist. So.
You don't need to watch it. You don't need to watch it. You're fine. So that was okay. So your number 7. Kayla, what was
my
your
number 7 was The Lazarus Effect.
Okay.
And it was mostly about these scientists trying to like master the afterlife. Like they're trying to figure out that they could come back. So they start testing on animals. Animal comes back basically a demon dog. She ends up dying. She comes back and says we did everything right. We were Christian and religious, and we're still going to hell. So it was mostly like a movie about how like all hope is lost.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I've never seen Leather Effect. I'll be honest with you. It was the trailer that just didn't grab me. I wasn't big on the trailer, and even though I know it's different things, it reminded me of Flatliners too much. Now I've never seen the remake of Flatliners, but I grew up on the original, and so I'm just like, I don't need to see this. At the time, excuse me, who's in that movie? Because I remember not caring about the cast, but then later on,
Olivia Wilde's in it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember.
Mark Duplass, is he in that?
Maybe.
I remember when that cast became more known, I was like, oh shit, this is a pretty good cast, but it was never enough to kind of bring me back to it. Lazarus Effect, what'd you think of it?
Oh, it's okay.
Is that?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's okay.
Middle of the road, just.
I don't give it like high praise or anything.
Okay.
But no, it's fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did you Lazarus Effect?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay, gotcha.
I'm good.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
there
good
it
on
is.
it. I haven't seen it.
So my number 7, this kind of goes with The Ring in a sense because this is another movie that everybody, when you kind of saw the parody of it, no one could take the original seriously. Now I think with this one, it's definitely, go ahead. With this one, it's definitely kind of come back into our pop culture a little bit more. I think people have really kind of dug it a little bit more. Scream, the original Scream, fucking love it. To me, it it took everything about the slasher genre and just kind of reinvigorated it.
Yeah.
Made it fresh again, all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, what can you say about it? It hasn't already been said a million times. It's fucking brilliant. Once again, Wes Craven's a master of it. I got 2 Wes Craven movies on my fucking list, so there's that. So clearly he's doing something right. It's just great. I love the mystery, and it's one of those things where, for whatever reason, I knew from the beginning that.
Billy Loomis?
Not Billy Loomis, Stu Marker.
Stu, yeah.
I knew he was the killer. I don't know why.
He was crazy.
He was. Like, every time they would just, I don't know, just for whatever reason, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad performance or bad writing, because it's just like, no, it was just like, but when it was revealed, it really reminded me of I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Club Dread or not, but there's kind of a murder mystery there too, and when the killer reveals himself, one guy's like, I knew it was you. He's like, fuck you did. He's like, no, fuck you, I didn't know it was you. It's just like, I feel the same way. I was just like, I saw him. Now, Billy Loomis, I didn't know. And because, once again, when he gets stabbed, you're like, oh my god, he's dead. And he comes back. And even then, it should have been a dead getaway when he's like, I'm alive still. Give me the gun, Sydney. It's okay. Yeah. But no, I thought it was just great cast, great writing, great everything. What do you think about Scream?
I love Scream. I saw it at the drive or whenever it first came out. And, it's interesting because different people read that script before Wes Craven got it. I think Sam Raimi did, George Romero did, and they thought it was a comedy.
Yeah.
Which I can understand where some might think that Scream is a comedy, for sure. The scene that stands out to me in it is whenever she towards the very end where she gets free and she's on the phone saying that she called the cops.
Yeah.
And then she asks Stu, so what's your motive, Stu? And he's like, peer pressure.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then
Billy hits him in the back of the phone, like, give him the phone, dick.
And then he's just like, so did you really like him? Call the cops. You bet your ass did. Oh, my mom and dad would be so mad at me. He was just a nutcase.
Oh yeah, he really was. He was crazy.
It's like that was what he was worried about, his mom and dad finding out. But
not the murder charges gonna get racked up against him, but just his parents being mad or disappointed in him. So
yeah, but no, I thought Scream was very good, and it was written by the guy that wrote Dawson's Creek. So
that's what I said. It's great.
Yeah, I walks a good line between comedy and horror for me.
Yeah.
It's cool that it does that without ever leaning too hard into one.
So I figure you'd like the meta-ness of it all, because you're a very meta guy, so I feel like that'd be your main draw there.
For sure, the fact that it's kind of poking fun of itself. While
absolutely.
Also, the fact that it can make fun of itself and still be a good horror movie.
See, I think that's where,
I like about it the most.
I love the fact that, just seconds she'll be like, when she's on the phone, who she's talking to, the killer bitch thinks Randy, she's just like, well, every movie's the same, some girl just, runs upstairs when she should be right outside, and then not 2 seconds later when the killer's after her, she runs upstairs. Now, once again, she kind of had to, but still, it's like, they're poking fun at the entire, convention of the, slasher genre or whatever. What do you think of Scream?
I love Scream. I love 1 through 3.
Yeah. I agree.
I love 4. Still.
What?
I love them all.
Fuck out of it.
No question.
I need to watch 4 again, because I always have to watch it, but just I felt like 4 was the movie that that's when I knew I was becoming an old man.
Your problem is Emma Roberts. It has nothing to do with
Well, I love Emma Roberts, though. I'm a
it's
big
her.
fan of Emma Roberts. I've grown on her ever since American Horror Story. I'm a big Emma Roberts fan. No, for me, with Scream 4, it was just her motive. Everybody had a good motive. I mean, I'm not saying you should kill, but it's just it had a believable motive. Part 1, it was, he's killing because...
She was just jealous.
Yes, but she was just I don't want to get a job. I just want to be a celebrity on Instagram or whatever.
So
that's what I'm killing.
realistic.
I guess,
So
but
realistic.
it just shows why I hate this
Why
generation.
is that not realistic?
Yeah.
That's like everybody's.
I guess that's
So
what it is. So I guess if I'm sitting there looking at this young teeny bopper crowd around me, I'm just like, this is all your fault. This is why I got this right here.
I like this at all.
What's your number 7, Jason?
Sinister.
Sinister.
Love Sinister. I remember, whenever it first came out, it was 2012, I do believe, around that time, and I saw the trailer for it, and it just looked so terrifying, and it's just such a good horror film. It doesn't really have much gore to it, or anything.
Yeah.
It's just so it's suspenseful, and it's got a lot of scares in it, I think. You got the little girl that's talking to another kid.
Yeah.
It's just one of those classic horror films that just has that feel to it. Just very good film.
Oh yeah.
Ethan Hawke never changes in the entire film. It feels like he's always wearing the same cardigan. I really like him, I don't like him in this movie. I love the deputy. I think he's a really good character.
Deputy so-and-so, yeah.
Sinister is one of the best films to ever be so lackluster in my mind because it's really good, but there's certain things it could have done that would have really brought it to a new level. Like, I always imagined that Bagul was always in a lot of scenes, and he never was. But I always hoped that the director was doing that. He was always putting him just slightly in a corner where you could only see just a little bit of him. But it never was. It never really was that, and I wanted that the whole time. So I was disappointed. There's just certain stuff that I thought could have made it better. Especially not making a sequel would have made it better.
Yeah, what do you think about
I
Sinister?
feel the same as him. I feel like the movie was lackluster, and Ethan Hawke, I don't know what was up with him in that cardigan.
It's the only thing he wears
It's
the
the
whole
only
time.
thing I really noticed in the movie. It was like,
But he was a writer, though.
I was like, I'll defend him for that only, because I can see him, like, whenever I'm editing, I don't change either, so I can
exactly.
It's like several. It's not
I was
like.
like,
It's like a long time. There's a lot of time.
He also doesn't look like he showered at all. I'm really weird. Like
He's an artist.
I keep rewatching the porn and I'm like, I need to clean that kitchen. And that's some really good lighting too. I'm weird like that.
This is one scene where he comes out of the bathroom with a towel. You don't see the shower, but just see him come out of the towel and be like, okay, he showered finally. All right, good.
Now I can really get into this movie.
There was a more interesting movie in this movie, and it was all of the families being killed.
Yeah.
Or Ethan Hawke finally washing the cardigan. That's the movie that I wanted to see.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I love this movie. In fact, it came out around the same time The Conjuring and Sinister came out. Or, sorry, Conjuring and Insidious came out. And this is actually my favorite of the bunch.
Wow.
I love the story behind it. I'm okay with the cardigan. To me, I feel like it definitely is more style over substance.
Yeah.
The only thing I will, like, the one thing I hate is, like, at the very end, the last scene, you see the box and the kids running, and then there's just a random jump scare for no reason, like, go like, ugh! And I was like, but why is he doing that? Like, let's say this is real. Like, did he literally, like, alright, kids, get in the movie screen. Like, give me 1 second, we'll go over to the trapdoor. Ah! Like, why are you doing that? But Goul's like, I just do that. I don't know. And he just walks away. It's like, that made no sense.
I actually like that, though, because it was like all the kids, and then you see him because I do believe he's the last thing everybody should have seen. You know, just because he was the guy that
who's he
did all
jumping out at? The audience? He
Yeah.
broke the fourth wall, I guess. He's just like, Ethan Hawke's gone. They're all dead, except, you know, the kids with them. So it's just like, he's literally just doing this. This is what you're seeing. This is what you're seeing as the kids. You're the kids. This is McGool. Like, all right, kids, see you guys later. Ah! What? Oh, it's a thing. Don't worry. You'll get when you grow up. Don't worry about it. That's the only thing. And then the scene where, like, Ethan Hawke's walking in the house and it's dark, and all the kids are, like, popping out, and there's jump scares. But it's like,
Not for him.
but they're not jumping for his. Like,
And he has that back coming back in, like.
And this is the movie. I love this movie. I'm picking it apart right now. But this is the movie that was like, it was so dark. Like, anytime I'm just like, Ethan, turn a fucking light on. Like, and there's never a scene where he's just like, oh no, like 3 seconds. Like, there's never out. It was just middle of the night. Hear the noise. He's like, I'm like, turn a fucking light on, buddy. Like, my God. So, but I love the snuff films that they made. And it was, I think, my biggest theater jump was the lawnmower scene.
And
the thing is, you knew it was coming.
that made me physically sick.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there in the theater, and this is like, I'm sitting there like, shit, I know it's coming, god damn it. And then it comes, and you're like, oh my god. I thought and like you said, they didn't really show a lot of blood, but it was all implied. Like, and it's just like, each of the things were just so brutal. And then I guess the fact that, you know, when you find it's the kids that are engaging in it all, it makes it even more disturbing or whatever. So I really love Sinister, even though there is a lot you can pick apart. I guess I didn't think about that. More I was talking, I was like, wow, this got a lot of shit. But, all right, you're number 6.
Mandy.
Mandy.
Yeah.
All right, interesting.
Yeah.
All the boys love Mandy or just Mandy?
Just Mandy.
Okay,
Yeah, Nick
just
Cage.
Mandy. Just Mandy. Nick Cage. Cosmos Panatos or Panatos Cosmatos?
No, call it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, really, really weird psychological thriller, horror, action, romance.
Definitely blends the genres.
Yeah, big blend, and that's why I love it the most. I think this is a director that made the list twice for me because he's that good. But yeah, I love Mandy, and it's Nick Cage's best movie probably.
Fair enough. What do you think about
I
Mandy?
haven't think.
Kayla, I'm gonna tell you right now because I know you personally. Check out Mandy. I think you would like it. It's a very it's definitely more art and substance over style over everything else, but I think you would like that aspect of it. It's a really good story and everything else. Mandy is a great fucking movie. It just, you feel like you're tripping as you're watching. Like, it really is, like, it's a mind fuck of it. You know, and once again, there's nothing trippy about it. I mean, there's nothing, like, the story's very linear, but it's just, like, the style it's presented in is just so, like, holy shit. Honestly, I'm one of those guys that will shit on Nick Cage any chance he gets, but I've always said that he's a great actor. It's just giving him the right movie. You go back in his, Raising Arizona, Face Off, exactly, Las Vegas. It's just, he went through a period where he was just doing, he's a guy who won't say no, that's the problem. Literally, there was like, you want to do this crappy movie? He's like, yeah. And it's just like, he isn't talented enough to pull off every performance. So it's just like, and so he went through a phase where just like a bunch of crap. But then when Mandy came out the same year that Mom and Dad came out, and I love both movies.
Mom and Dad.
And so it was just like, they came out back to back, and I was skeptical of both, but I was like, I've been hearing a lot of good things, and trailers both pulled me in, so I was like, I'm going to check them out. And yeah, I thought Mandy was really good. There's a scene in there that they definitely ripped off Phantasm 2, but we'll let it go because no one watched Phantasm 2, I guess. But there's a scene where you find a guy, and Nick Cage has this chainsaw, but then this guy pulls out like this massive, like 10-foot chainsaw type thing, and he's just like, oh shit. It's so funny, but at the same time, it's just like, that was Phantasm 2 they ripped off.
Hey, but that was stolen from Crocodile Dundee. That's not enough.
That's true. So you fair enough. We'll borrow from where we can. So,
yeah.
But I like Mandy. What do you think about Mandy?
I like Mandy. It's a psychedelic delight.
Yeah.
It really is. It's it's definitely more on the style than it is the substance for sure. But I mean, it's a very good film. I mean, it's got a good story to it. I mean, it flows well. It's a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hell yeah. What was that? 6?
That was 6.
What's your 6, Kayla?
American Mary.
American Mary.
It has kind of an American Psycho theme to it, but with vagina. But there's this surgeon. She's learning to be a surgeon, and it's kind of like a rape revenge movie.
Mm-hmm.
She gets assaulted, and then she's like, I'm just gonna like use what skills I have and completely disembowel and chop pieces off of my rapist. And then she starts realizing she can make a career out of cutting people up. And I don't want to give away the ending though.
I wasn't a fan of this movie, I'll be honest with you. I thought it was going to go one direction, and I was all about that because I'm a big fan of the rape revenge subgenre. But then it goes drama for a minute, and like it's less about like, once she gets her attackers, it's less about her, I guess, being a vigilante. That'd be an awesome fucking movie right there. It's just like more her trying to come to terms with what she did, and then she's like trying to figure out there's another guy involved, and she's trying to where she stand with this guy. And I don't know. It just got really. It's like the first half was really good, and then the second half just drops. It's almost like they didn't know what to do. I'm not a big fan of the Soska sisters. They're the one that directed it, directed it. And I feel like they have this problem. They're really good style-wise. Like you can tell these are two girls that love horror, and they know the genre really well. But it's just like they don't know how to fully get the story to come full circle. Like they can go into it, and they got great premises, but then after that, for me, it fell flat. But that's just my opinion. What do you think of American Mary?
I liked it okay. It's got like a real life Betty Boop in it too. That was cool.
That's weird.
But no, I mean I thought it was a pretty good film for like what it was. I mean,
I like it.
Like it? The girl who played Mary, she's a horror legacy because she was in Freddy vs. Jason. She was in Ginger Snaps. Yep. Damn good actress. And there's something else. I'm blanking on. I won't hold us up on that. But yeah, she's really good. She's done her time in horror. She's a scream queen for sure. She's a damn good actress. So, but yeah, American Mary, check it out. So we're up to me. My number 6, Black Christmas.
the original.
The original. Oh yeah, no, we won't even pretend like there's other ones.
Black Xmas.
But this one I just love because once again, going back to why I like Friday the 13th Part 2. It just, it came out before Halloween and really established a lot of the rules that John Carpenter would take with him. And it's so basic. It's just psychopath hiding in a sorority house, taking off one-on-one. But it established so many things that would be ripped off. And the thing was, it's just now getting its respect it deserves. But for the longest time, Carpenter took the POV, the holiday themed slasher thing, eventually, everybody should use that. The calls come from inside the house. Did it 2-3 years before When a Stranger Calls. Like, it established everything. But the fact it was a small Canadian film, and it's directed by Bob Clark, who go on to do Porky's and A Christmas Story. So like the guy who did like the ultimate sex comedy and the ultimate Christmas family movie did this insane slasher. The actresses in it are great. Margot Kidder is always phenomenal. I can never pronounce that one girl's name. Olivia Hussey. That's it. She does really good. And like I said, the score. This is a fucking brilliant movie. What do you think? Black Christmas.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love Black Christmas. I don't have much. Yeah, I don't know how much more to add.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't add much more beyond that.
Not seen it,
You dirty motherfucker.
but I also don't care to see it either.
Oh man, I would recommend it. I think you would like it. The thing is, like, Bob Clark has a certain sense of humor to him. Some of my favorite scenes, because I'm a big John Saxon fan, is there's a scene where the girl gives him a number, and I forget like the for a few digits she gets. She's like, it's this new exchange. It's FE, and he's like, what does FE stand for? And he's like, fellatio, and apparently this cop doesn't know what fellatio is. And so whenever John Saxon gets this number, it says fellatio on it, and 237 or whatever, he's just like, what the hell's this? The other cop is just laughing hysterically, and it takes me back to Porky's when the people are having sex, and she's called Lassie, she's howling or whatever during sex, and everybody's laughing. Or the scene where they're talking about, trying to find the pervert who put his penis in the door. Wow, these movies don't age well. But anyways, but the scene where they're all laughing about that.
Penis, like pulling it.
And so it just reminds me of the scene after that when she's trying to like get justice, and of course everybody's making jokes about it. Once again, these are horrible in 2020, but back in the 80s they were hilarious. Sex crimes were funny back then, I guess. Anyways, but no, Black Christmas, it kind of strides that line of a good slasher movie, good suspense, and has a nice little fine line of comedy in there as well. Black Christmas. Haven't seen it.
No.
Highly recommended. Number 6, buddy.
The Fog.
Okay.
The original.
Yeah.
The Fog. John Carpenter here. Jamie Lee Curtis. Just a very good movie. Not much blood. And not much gore. It's just one of those kind of like a campfire story. You'll be told. Perfect movie to watch if it's like raining outside and you just want to stay in for the night. One of those movies. But just very good, very classic. Definitely got like a few scares, but the feel of it just very good. Very good film.
Oh yeah.
I have not seen it.
Not a fan. I did love it starting off. I'm a big fan of what I call like under siege horror. Is like when people are trapped in a location and there's something outside. I love that. And this movie, it's a very slow burn starting off, and the fog's coming in town, and you introduce all these characters, and so it's building up, and it's just like, oh my god, and so they all find, I can't remember if they go to a lighthouse or a church or they do something, they go somewhere, but they barricade themselves up like, oh shit, the next time this movie is going to be pirate ghosts trying to attack these people, and then it just ends like abruptly, and I don't know, I've only seen it once, I feel like it's another one I need to give another chance to possibly, but it's just like, I don't know, the story was just kind of nah. It does have that classic ghost story vibe. I feel like that's a thing. Carpenter was trying to do something different, and I was a dick who's just like, I don't want you to do anything different. Do the same thing again. Just keep doing Halloween and Escape from New York. That's all I want to see. So I wasn't huge on the Fog, but that's just my opinion. 5.
Okay, I don't want to cut anyone off
Yeah.
and ruin the podcast, but we are getting like close to 2 hours.
2 hours.
I'm just letting everyone know,
This one will be a long one because it was an introduction and everything like that. We won't be doing top 10s every single one.
Okay.
So yeah.
I just wanted to let everyone know that we are.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm just like, what time is it right now?
Yeah, it's starting to get pretty lengthy.
We'll start swinging at these real quick. So number 5.
Okay, another Cosmo movie, Beyond the Black Rainbow. I think this one is the far superior. A lot more style, but I think the substance is just as deep, and this one holds your hand a lot less.
Okay.
Yeah.
More,
It's way more figure it out for yourself.
Ambiguous kind of thing. Gotcha.
I have not seen it.
I haven't either, but I saw the trailer, and this is a movie that I keep telling you I'm gonna watch, and I just never got around to it, but it's like, I do want to see it. It looks fucking awesome, and like I said, whenever I watched Mandy, I knew what to expect from the other one, because I was just like, I love the style and just the weirdness of it all, so.
I've not watched it, but it used to be on Shudder. I don't know if it still is. But
Yeah, I'm not sure, actually.
I definitely will check it out, though, for sure.
Hell yeah. 5?
Me?
Yeah. You on 5, Josh? Is that 5?
We're on
Yeah.
5.
5.
I picked The Mist.
Okay.
Simply because the ending really got me. I can't say anything else about it besides like it's kind of like an emotional roller coaster,
Yeah.
and you're like, I guess this is the only way we're gonna get out of this, and then right after,
Oh yeah.
man,
I love The Mist. In fact, that if I could do a top 15, it'd be in there. It's fucking awesome. I love the idea. I read the book before, and so I really like that. I mean, we'll get to that in a second too. But to me, like the fog should have been The Mist. Like I remember when I watched the fog later in life, and I was just like, well, this ain't The Mist. God damn, this ain't nothing like that. I love the creatures, and I'll give you just one of those exceptions where I'll be like, I'm a stickler for bad CGI, but I've always said if the CGI sucks, but the movie or the story is great, I'll let it slide. And this one is that movie where that giant tentacle comes in there, it's like, oh, it's so bad looking, but it's like, fuck, it's a great movie. The way he shot it, Frank Darabont, he put the camera in the crowd with you. You feel like you're in the supermarket with all these people when this mist rolls in, and it just had a very, I don't know, you just feel like you're actually like, you always say like, what would it be like to be there? You feel like you're with them in this. And then you go back to what I said earlier about religion going wrong. The one nutcase that's just like, God's punishing us. It's like, how would you disprove her though? Because even in the end, when they, she's like, sacrifice the boy. And when the boy dies, the mist clears up. And it's just like, fuck me. And that ending is such a gut punch. Because the ending of the book is just, it doesn't end. It just goes, we're going to Hartford, Connecticut tomorrow. Hopefully it's better. And that's it. That's how it ends. Just more fog. We keep driving. All the survivors are together. So when I watch this movie, I'm expecting the ending. And I'm just like, well, I guess we're going to roll this out pretty quickly. And then, bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh my God. What? And he's just like, and then, dude, Thomas Jane's such a great actor. When he's literally crying, screaming, trying to shoot himself, it's just like, fuck. Like, you feel his pain. You feel his pain. And then to have the fog clear up immediately after that, it was just like, fuck you! Like, oh my God, really? The creatures are great. I love that giant fucking
alien spider
yeah.
thing.
The big like mammoth thing.
Oh, yeah.
The H.P. Lovecraft ripped off whatever thing. The thing's just freaking creepy as hell. Mist.
I have not seen The Mist.
Oh,
but
dude, check it out.
I have to watch The Mist.
Watch The Mist. Seriously, it's one of my favorite Stephen King movies.
Yes. I don't know why I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's brilliant. You haven't seen The Mist?
No, I've seen The Mist.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh shit, like, oh my God. You gotta see that.
No, I like The Mist.
Okay.
It's good. I really like Thomas Jane a lot.
And
I think that cast, like, a lot of the faces are less seen faces, but are all really good actors in it.
They all went on to like Walking Dead. Like Frank Darabont started the first season of Walking Dead, so a lot of those go like the Walking Dead regulars. And oh yeah, they're all great.
This feels like a Walking Dead.
Yeah,
pilot,
it's almost like it's
not.
it's like it's a spin off of Walking Dead. It's like, well, while the zombies were over there, the mist was over here. So my number 5 is Phantasm. I'm a huge fan of Phantasm. It's very, when I was a kid, I even loved weird, bizarre, and I mean, I didn't like you said, you don't have to hold your hand through it. I like movies that aren't explained. I'm okay with that. Like, I like coming up with my own thing. As I got older, Phantasm seemed definitely more linear, I guess. Now, if you go to the sequels, you get to like 4 and 5. That's when you need to fucking watch Phantasm. I know you'll love 4 and 5. You may not like the first 2, but you'll love 4 and 5. But it's very cosmic, very alternate dimensions, different timelines, and even the first 2 or 3, you can easily look at it and be like, well, that's a mistake, or this doesn't make any sense. But when it gets to the end, it all comes together. The Tall Man is one of the best horror villains of all time. I always hate that Phantasm is like one of those movies that I always considered it like. When everybody's like Michael, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, and Pinhead, I always threw Tall Man in there because to me he was like the next legendary 6th one. And then it wasn't until I grew up that I realized that no one else thinks this way at all. Like I'm the only one that's just like Tall Man and Phantasm, great horror films. Nope, not at all. Everybody else is kind of crapping on it. The silver spears that go around and dice people up and drain them of their blood, fucking awesome. And then like I said, I love horror films that take place from the perspective of a kid, especially when I was a kid, because you're a kid, no one believes you. And so whenever these kids would come across some horrific shit, and they're like, no one believes me. It's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, kid. I'm there with you. So I don't know. Phantasm is just great. And once again, as an older person who knows about filmmaking, when you realize that this movie was pretty much no budget, hardly, and just like all the tricks they used to employ to make it, it really is. Like, it really is solid. I mean, there's a few things you catch, but for the most part, it's brilliant. Phantasm.
Very good, Yeah, awesome. That's all I have to say about it.
I will watch it, and it's probably going to be my on the watch list for this week. Actually, all of them. I'll probably watch all of them this week.
You'll get high in watching. You'll love it so much more. I promise you. Just do it. Like you'll love these movies. You won't go wrong with it. Phantasm.
What he said.
You haven't seen it yet. You're going to. All right, number 5.
An American Werewolf in London.
That's almost my list. I did put it on there, but yeah.
Yeah. Just, oh man, such a good movie. Scary, gory, well acted, well written. It just has that. I mean, it's just so good, and you know, like it spawned like a lot of films after. You know? Like like a lot of films stole things from like like American Werewolf. But I mean, very good film.
Fucking awesome. American Werewolf?
Haven't seen it, but from what I've seen of it, I like a lot of it.
It's really it's awesome.
I haven't seen it, but isn't it more kind of like campy?
Well, it has a lot of comedy in there, and I will say because it's directed by John Landis, who did
It's
like
like
the Blues
comedy and horror in
Brothers,
some way.
and so, but it's one of those that we talked about earlier. It was like it's clearly a horror movie, but it just has a lot of comedy in it, kind of thing. So it's one of those things. There's a scene where they're all in like a porno theater, and he's seeing his dead friend and these other dead people. But the movie is playing on the movie itself. It's the most ridiculous porno ever. It's just like, I don't know, you laugh so hard when you're watching him watch this thing. And like at one point, like the dead guy just like, this is a pretty good movie. And you're just like, it's so ridiculous. Like I said, it's the best werewolf movie of all time. The effects are great, even for its time. The transformation scene alone has yet to be matched with CGI or anything else. Like literally watching this dude transform into a werewolf, you can't beat it. You can't beat it at all.
Dang.
4.
Number 4 for me is The Nines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is
I would say you're cheating a little bit there, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
An unusual pick, Ryan Reynolds, weird cosmic movie.
Yeah.
It is only horror if you're thinking about it from the right perspective. But I really love it. But Ryan Reynolds, weird movie if you want to watch it.
I've seen it. I haven't seen it, but I've seen trailers for it, and I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, The Nines is awesome. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of Melissa McCarthy at all. Like, fuck her. But
Tell us about your
before, I would always be like, fuck her, she can't act. That's not true. She's a damn good actress. She just does bad movies all the time. And this is the first movie I watched where I was like, god damn it, she's so good. It was just like, see, in that movie, it's just like, her shtick works thin with me. I can't do it. But in every one of those movies, there's always one scene where you're like, there's a good actress in there. Like, why does she not bring that out more often? No, she let her fart and fall down half the goddamn movie. Anyways, The Nines is really good. Very psychological, and you gotta stick with it. But, like, Ryan Reynolds, I mean, he's a great actor anyway. And it was at a time when, like, he was kind of transitioning to doing these, like, kind of low-budget art house type movies. So when you saw him,
his resurgence to the top.
and so it was literally like you're still looking at him like, oh, this is Van Wilder. Like, this is all he does. And it's like, this is the first time where I looked at him like, no, he's actually a solid actor too. Melissa McCarthy does good. The Nines, yeah, highly recommend it. Nines.
Very good, yeah. You know, I definitely recommend it as well. So, very good film.
Number 4.
The Bad Batch. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
Basically, this young girl is traveling. She goes to like some desert, and she finds out people survive. It's kind of like, you ever heard of that abandoned place in Vegas? It's like Rock City or something. Rock City.
I've heard of places like this though. Yeah,
it's like that, except they all eat each other.
The Bad Batch, huh?
It's got Jason Momoa in it and some other fucking people, and there's also like a pregnancy cult involved. It's just fun to watch, but it's also ridiculous.
That sounds pretty good, actually. I haven't seen it. Bad Batch.
No, I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. But I like Momoa.
I'll put it on the list. Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. My 4 we've already talked about. Friday 13th Part 2. So you're Part 4. Or you're.
We've already talked about my Part 4, or Part 4.
What was it?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Perfect. What's your 4? Or sorry, you're 3.
Yeah, we're on 3
You're
now.
3 now.
My number 3 is The Endless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get some of the smaller guys in there, and I love The Endless.
Yeah.
The 2 directors are amazing and great writers.
Brilliant.
Ridiculous. Their trilogy of Resolution, The Endless, and Spring is remarkable and some of the best low-budget movies you'll ever see.
Kayla, check
Go
it out.
watch it.
Seriously, brilliant. Endless is brilliant. In fact, me and him were just starting to become friends, and we didn't really connect with horror. We just connected on movies in general. So I kind of knew what his taste was, and so I remember that was the first time, like, Josh, watch The Endless. Like, this is your movie. Check it out. And so he did, and of course he ended up loving it. It's brilliant. Like, it really is, and it deals with cults as well. But it also, I mean, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away if you haven't seen it. It's awesome, and really, these are 2 guys who have no money. The filmmaker, sorry, and it just shows you like you can make a damn good movie with no budget, and these are the guys who are proving it right now. So yeah, these are 2 guys that I'm always interested to see what they're doing next. So Endless.
Very good. You have a very good storyline. Flows well.
And even though it doesn't show anything, for whatever, it reminded me of like a Lovecraft type vibe.
Oh,
like
yeah, it's
it really had that for
H.P.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I don't know. I was fucking. And it's another movie that once again, is it cheat? Is it a horror? Is it a weird fantasy? But like the scene where the one brother goes underwater. I don't know why I was so on edge during that thing. I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen, and the whole time was like, something will fucking pop out. Water horror freaks me out. That is my kryptonite right there. Like I can watch a ghost movie, doesn't bother me. I can watch kids being mutilated, eaten, doesn't bother me. But you put me in the water, I'm like, fuck you. Like I don't want to go in the water. I don't like sharks or what's in the water. I'll swim in a pool all day long. You give me the deepest, most bottomless pool, I'll swim in that shit. You put something in that water, I don't want to get in there. I don't fuck that shit. So that was your number 3, Endless. What's your number 3?
I'm gonna go with No One Lives.
Okay.
Even though that was like the one we talked about earlier, I'm just gonna go with that one because it's awesome.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Get a lot twisted. I do recommend you guys check it out. I don't know if you guys would be into it or not, but I would say check it out. I mean, there is pretty good twisted. You've seen No One Lives?
No, I'm not seeing it.
No. My number 3, generic as hell, but I'm going with The Shining. It's on everybody's top list. It is just, fuck horror. It's one of the best movies ever made. Like it really is. Like you watch that movie, it's just like this is Kubrick at his best. It's masterclass filmmaking, and then Jack Nicholson's performance. My God. Oh, it's a movie that I never get tired of. I can literally pop that in anytime, watch it, and not just like do things. I can literally stop what we're doing, put it on, and pay attention to it, finish it, replay it again. Like I'm so obsessed with that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, Shining.
Yeah, the Shining's very good. I think that the ending is still debated a lot.
Yeah.
They on what that actually means.
That's what I love about it too.
Well, yeah, because I'm like, does it have to have an answer? It's like that, like in Pulp Fiction, like what's in the case?
Yeah.
It's not, you're supposed to know what's in the case. It's just one of those things that we're supposed to be left in the dark there.
Well, I feel like with Dr. Sleep, they do kind of shed a little bit of light on it, almost like his soul is now absorbed into the evil, the Overlook, or whatever. So, that's how I kind of always took it back then. Although I remember one person, their theory was, it was actually my uncle. He said he thought it was like a reincarnation type thing. Like he made that line like I've been here before, and he's like, maybe he was. Who knows? But like I said, the fact that they never really tell you makes it fine. I'm good with that. So.
I love The Shining so much. One of my favorite movies, and one that I hadn't seen until I think a year ago, just because it missed my radar.
I remember when you told me you were going to watch it, I was like, man, I love it so much, but it's like, whenever you try to get someone to watch a movie, especially if they've missed it completely, like a movie that came out in the 80s, and they are watching it in 2020, you're like, they're going to like it, because it's not new, it's like they didn't grow up, but they don't have the same feeling, so I just remember thinking like, he ain't gonna like it, like, I hate this guy now, but you are a Kubrick fan, yeah, so you kind of worked your way up to that. The Shining?
I'm gonna get a lot of hate, but
you're fine. No, we're good.
I mostly loved it when I was a kid. I felt like it was more effective to me, but movies I've seen that are like in the 80s and now just don't really it's more like watching it for nostalgia.
Yeah. I will say one thing that bugs me about right now though. Wendy gets my fucking nerves at the end. Whole time her son is being chased and seeing so much worse shit than she has ever seen in her life. Like he has seen the twins and the girl in the bathtub. He's been throttled by her. And his own father is chasing him with an axe. And then the last 10 minutes of this movie, when he's running room from room, she sees like a furry and a dude getting a BJ. Ah! And then she sees a butler with a little gash in his head. Ah! And then she sees skeletons. Ah! And I'm like, fucking stop screaming. Jesus, you're not seeing hardly anything at all. Calm down. Your son's going through some shit out there. Get your shit together and go out there and help him. She sees Grady's dead, or not Grady, Dick Halloran's dead body. I'm like, that one's a little bit kind of fine, but it's like, my God, this kid's seen some shit for the entire movie, and you're just now catching up, and you're, I don't know. Every time I watch it, her shrieks get on my nerves to the point where I'm just like, I almost gotta mute her scenes anymore, because she's just like,
that scene where she's trying to like hit Jack, I'm like, just hit.
I guess her character stays pretty consistent though. She's kind of shrill the entire time. Get away from me!
Yeah, I like that she's worthless, and it's not her fault. She just gives this vibe that she's had the shit beat out of her.
Honestly, because Nicholson's such a
it.
douche that like, he's had alcohol.
He's a past
before.
Exactly, yeah. So no, it like I said, her character fits right. I think it's written just fine. I think she's doing it right. Just me watching it, I'm just like, Fucking shit.
I think we've all known people like that too. That we might see out in public and they look all lovey, but you know what really goes on behind.
Not
the
sure.
scenes.
So
absolutely.
I think you owe Kubrick a phone call.
Give
and an
me
apology.
Shelley Duvall's number. I'll
Yeah.
call her right now, Doug. I'm so sorry, Shelley. It's
Didn't she like fall into her brain?
Oh, I don't know, but she hasn't worked in like a long time, so maybe, yeah, that may be it.
Some Dr.
Or-
Phil shit on that. You should watch it.
Poor girl. Number 3.
Night of the Living Dead, the original.
Nice.
Nice.
Love it. Black and white is so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this movie here. I think, like the poster says, don't watch this one alone.
Yeah.
And it's true, man, because I saw this whenever I was a kid. It terrified me so much, mainly because there was a graveyard nearby. So and
You're like, yep, ground zero
so
here.
it just kind of terrified me that I wouldn't even walk by the graveyard for a
Yeah.
long time because I feared that people were going to come after me or something. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those movies, and it was done on a shoestring budget,
Mhm.
and it still holds up.
Oh, yeah,
to this
absolutely.
very day. And I think that the ending, that heart-stopping ending, I mean, it's been talked about, now
Yeah.
as being racist and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, it's just, and you don't see that coming.
No.
I mean, that just comes like out of nowhere. Like even now,
It's
that
another sucker punch ending, yeah.
and yeah, now that I watch it, and I even know that it's coming,
Yep.
and still I'm like, oh god,
I'm the
I
same
just-
way,
I just
yeah.
can't take it, man. It's just one of those.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's classic, and it's one of our first black leads
Yeah.
Yeah.
in movies. So I think that's cool. And it really, the whole barricaded in the house type
Yeah,
of
that's exactly.
vibe, I think this is where it really started
Yep.
as far as movies
Yeah.
go.
No, absolutely,
So,
definitely did.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have not seen it. I
Have you
will.
not? Check it out. First black and white movie I ever watched that I actually wanted to watch, like not school or nothing like that. And I remember sitting down and was surprised. I mean, the first movie kind of opened me up to realize, like, because it's black and white don't mean it's bad. You used to have that perception of like, hey, it's old, probably boring. And no, it was brilliant. And there's a scene, and always get no crazy jump scare to it, but like when they're walking by the window and like a hand pops through and like one of the zombies grabs him by the arm or whatever, and like I remember like jumping out of my seat there. Yeah, and like I said, like you said, the ending. Like, everything you said was just exactly what I think. Because the end, you're like, dude, just say something. Just say like, hey, I'm alive. Don't shoot me because I'm not a zombie. But dude, they put him down. You went through hell with this guy, and not just with the racial
And then he just gets
undertone.
thrown on the pile like he's
And
one of them.
once again, the fact that like literally, as he said, like his whole thing was like, we shouldn't go down the basement and barricade ourselves down there because we're just going to be sitting ducks down there. And at the end, he has to eat his own words. Like he has no choice but to go down there now and barricade himself. And so you're watching this. Everybody he's been with is dead. He's the last one, and you're just like, he survived it. And he goes upstairs and he walks around, and they're just like, there's another one. Shoot him. Bang. And you're like, oh, really? Really? And then you're right. They just throw him, and you throw him in the pile. And it's just like, oh my god.
And there is a remake that was directed by Tom Savini.
Yes.
And Tony Todd
Yeah.
is the lead, and it's very good as
They
well.
did it. Yeah, they did a different take on it, but yeah, it was still pretty
It's very
solid
good
and
as well.
everything.
Yeah, very good.
All right, you're number 2.
Antichrist,
I need to see that.
starring Willem Dafoe, is so good.
Love William Dafoe.
And really cool. It has a nice connection to The Last Temptation of Christ for me, just because of Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
I find that fun. And other people may not get that, but
Yeah.
for me, the connection is.
You're always seeing letters that ain't there anyway, so yeah.
But it's one of the first movies to make me feel really, really uncomfortable in the middle of the day.
Fuck.
I agree.
Okay, I have not
Enough
seen
said.
it. Yeah, it's one of those I've always heard about and been wanting to watch it. And it was on Netflix or Shudder or something like that forever. And
It's a Shudder.
I literally just never watched it, and I need to get around to it. I'm making time. I swear to God, I am. But
Same guy that made the house that Jack built, and
I know you talk about that too. I need to check that out.
yeah,
as
they
well.
go together. They're good.
I have not watched that, although I do have that movie.
Yeah.
It's
I have not
I saw you posted on Facebook.
Yeah,
the other day.
I have not watched it yet.
Bought it, yeah.
Way better than even it seems.
What about Antichrist?
I like it a lot. William Dafoe, he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
brilliant.
I love William Dafoe. He's great like in everything, whether it be Platoon or the Boondock Saints or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Very good actor, and yes, very good movie.
Awesome. You're number 2.
It.
Nice. Now you talking about the new one?
I want to go with both.
Both.
Because I love the older version and the newer version.
Okay, so you're kind of slumping.
So
Okay.
the TV short version, is that what
The
you're
miniseries or
The miniseries
Okay.
and then the movie. I love them
Okay.
both. The original one, the TV series one, scared the shit out of me. I used to have clown dolls.
Mhm.
Once I watched that, I didn't know. No.
Never
I don't
again.
even have dolls in my house anymore. They're watching me. But yeah, I really love that one. And the recent remake.
Yeah.
I actually really love that one too. I don't know how to explain it, but good acting. I feel like the kids were really good.
Yeah.
Like it was realistic for me, and it made me stop hating clowns because now I just want to see more clown movies.
I mean, the miniseries is classic. I mean, everybody grew up on it. I mean, I think it's funny though. Like, the old saying was like, the first half was brilliant, the second half not so much. And I feel like the movies kind of did the same thing. Where I think the second movie was decent, but it definitely didn't fall short as the first one. But I mean, and also this is an unpopular take right here, but I think Bill Skarsgård did way better as Pennywise than Tim Curry. I know that's a controversial thing. I think Tim Curry was great, but
I agree.
Dude, Bill Skarsgård took it to a different level. Like Heath Ledgered that Joker pretty much. I mean, just like he took it and made it his own, and he made it creepy, and just the look of the film was just brilliant. So yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I like the first and then the newer one. The second part to the newer one's okay. But Tim Curry is in. I do enjoy because he was in was it Home Alone 2 as well? He was the guy behind the counter.
Oh,
So I used to
Rocky
think that was the guy that was it too.
Oh yeah, Congo.
So
Guy's
so
brilliant.
very good story, very good book too. But the book's like that thick.
Yeah.
So,
I like the book as well.
very good. Yeah.
I'm Team Tim Curry.
Mhm.
I really like it, and I like the first series probably better,
Yeah.
as well as the first movie. Yeah, but I like Skarsgård. But Tim Curry, I feel like is believable
Mhm.
as a trickster, but with Skarsgård, looking at him immediately, I'm like, no, I would never go anywhere.
yeah. It would be hard to believe it. Like when the little girl when he hit the firefly, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you going near this guy? Like, it's sinister right now, but my number 2 will skip because it was Night of the Living Dead, so we are talking about it. What's your
My
number
number 2 we can skip because it was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Perfect.
Nice.
What's your number 1, Josh?
My number 1 is Jacob's Ladder.
Nice.
And
Tim Robbins.
The original, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a remake?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no shit. Okay,
No,
I say this a
don't
lot.
watch it,
I didn't
Josh.
know.
Oh, you know, yeah,
I
it was a
did
remake.
not
Yeah.
know.
I didn't see it, but yeah.
I make a lot of jokes, but no, I had no idea there was a remake.
I've
of
watched
Jacob's
it,
Ladder.
and I would. If you love the original, which I do too, don't watch the remake.
I'm gonna end up rewatching. I'm
It's
gonna
like-
end up watching it now.
Well, the remake is like a Lifetime type movie thing.
Right.
That's what I want to see.
That's what it was, oh, it was.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I like it a lot. It's trippy, and if you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things, so I'll watch it.
It has been really a long time. I was in junior high when I watched it, and it was like on Encore. And honestly, I really loved it. And this is one of those movies that like I always would pass up in the 5-hour bin, but I'd always pass it up, and I don't know why. And I always see that one time. I need to rewatch it again because honestly, a lot of it has kind of faded away from memory. But from what I remember, I loved it. But
Yes, I love the movie. I've got it like on VHS and DVD. Very good film. The ending to it is just total kicker.
yeah, oh yeah.
Whenever you're watching it, you have no idea. Yeah, just very good. I mean, it's a very good film. I mean, it's scary, but it's kind of sad as well. Like as
Yeah.
but also
I mean-
really happy.
yeah.
Your perspective, I guess. Yeah, how you're looking at
Well,
it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can totally see that too. But for me, I mean, I watched it and like the little boy and stuff. I just being a father myself, I kind of thought it was sad at some parts. But, yeah.
You're number 1.
I'm just gonna go with Virus.
Virus.
The most traumatic movie for me. I still refuse to watch it. It's all childhood memory and trauma.
Never seen it. We actually owned it on VHS when I was a kid, and I just never watched it for whatever reason. I like Jamie Lee Curtis, and I don't remember who else is in it, but I remember it had a good cast.
Donald Sutherland.
Okay, yeah. I was like, it had a solid all-star
He's
cast.
already naturally creepy, so.
He's a great actor. I love Donald Sutherland. Virus.
I've not watched it in years. I have seen it. I remember I liked it. I mean, I will. I probably should have watched it again because I don't remember too much about it. But
I'll watch it now. I mean, now that we've kind of talked about it here, I'll check it out. But yeah, I haven't watched it. Never seen it. What about you, Virus?
So I haven't seen it.
So I'm saying it. So my number 1 is Halloween, the original. It's classic. I mean, what else can you really say about that movie? Everything about that movie is just perfect. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What else can you say?
Mine's the same.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I mean, and Halloween. I mean, for like your horror movies, I mean that is the one that stands out to me as being the greatest, just because I think it started it all for a lot of things, especially the slasher. Well, I guess like your Black Christmas came first, but
it was the one that established, like it was the one that broke out and made it.
And but I mean, yeah, it's just one of those films. Some people that I've talked to say it's boring, which fuck you, because it's not at all boring.
No.
It's slow, yes, at some parts. But it's supposed to be slow because you're seeing things through the Shape's mind too, and everything, and seeing things through him. And what I hated that they did in part 2 was they made it to where she was his sister. I hated that because it was supposed to be a mystery. I think why he was after her, why he was drawn to her. But they didn't have to say, "Oh, that's his sister." Okay, now it makes sense. Now we have no. It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be, mysterious. I think in my mind, why he's after her, why he's drawn to her, and it's just such a good film because, I could just go on and on about it, because, and it was one of those films that was made in only a few days, know. And it had Donald Pleasance.
Low budget. I mean, it literally just well crafted, low budget.
And Donald Pleasance for the time, he was a star, I guess, kind of, because he had been like, he had like
he was huge in Britain. Yeah,
to his name, and so they got him, and he did a brilliant job as Dr. Loomis, and Michael Myers. It was always like where he talks about him, and he says the darkest eyes, the devil's eyes, and it was like Michael to him was even a mystery. That was his doctor, but he never really got through to him. He couldn't reach him.
Oh yeah, no.
So and that's the thing about Michael. I think it's so you can explain Jason why he was the way he was. Michael, you can't really explain.
Yeah.
Because he seemed to have a fairly good family life, parents, a sister that he stabs, and it's never known why because he never says why. He's just kind of there, kind of like looking at that window and doesn't really ever say. So sorry that I went.
Oh no, you're fine. You're good. No, you're
but
good.
Yeah, so okay.
See, I'll tell you right now though. Whenever I watched it, I already knew ahead of time that they were brother and sister in the sequels.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever watched part 1, I watched it with that mindset, which is probably why I hate the remake or the newest one so much, because it's like, to me, they are brother and sister. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, they never do explain why he goes crazy, I guess, but it's like, that's what's evil about him. Like, that's all I need. He's still unspeakable evil, but,
Yeah, and that was some of the reason why John Carpenter didn't like Rob Zombie's movies.
Yeah.
Because some people like the fact that, Rob Zombie gave him, a background story.
Yeah.
John Carpenter's like, no, he's not supposed to have a background story. We're not supposed to know why he does what he does.
I like that because it's like, it's what a remake should do. Your remake should be different, not just retread the same thing.
And Rob Zombie, clearly loves that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He loves the franchise. Yeah. But I mean, and I'm not saying that I hate his movies. I mean, I do like them for what they are.
Yeah.
But the original Halloween is still the best by far. So
Halloween is a diminishing return for me. After the first one, they get progressively worse up until the newest ones, which are a dumpster fire. Except for H20, that's my favorite.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like H20. I do really like the first Halloween. There's a lot of small decisions that were made from the director that made it what it was. It's simple.
I think the use of widescreen lens worked out perfectly. That's something I've noticed that no one really does. Like whenever Loomis is talking to the sheriff, and you look way back in the back, and there's this car in the corner, no attention drawn to it at all, and then he drives the frame, and it's like, why don't you there often? Yeah, it's like you should use every piece of that frame, and Carpenter just knew what he was doing, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Halloween.
Same.
It is not much you can say. I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic for a reason.
Well, and just to say something else, Carpenter showed his skill as a filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
because he did different shots, different angles that had never been done before with basically nobody.
Yeah, no, I was saying, yeah.
He had nobody. So
it was. Once again, the fact that they were using the leaves. It was California greens. They had.
There is a scene of that where you can see a palm tree.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So but once again, you don't pay attention to that because it's such a great film. So.
Pasadena.
So, we did it. I want to thank you guys for sitting here for 7 hours and talking movies. Our future installments will not be that long, I promise you. But this is definitely the introduction, and once again, we went through 10 goddamn movies a piece. So, this is going to be a lot longer. But once again, we are planning on not just putting us on YouTube, but I want to find actual podcast outlets as well. So this will actually fit for that thing. I don't think anybody will sit here and watch this talk, but they will listen to this talk hopefully. So we're hoping.
Of course.
So guys, if you like what you heard, definitely subscribe. Check out our social media. Go to the YouTube thing, and I got all the thing in the description, all the links. Jason, Josh, Kayla, guys, thank you so much for doing this with me, and hope to see you guys back next month. So there it is. We're out of here. Well, that's embarrassing. Oh, shit. Didn't always run, sorry. Hi. Thank you for watching that video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to our channel. All that good stuff you do right here on YouTube, go ahead and do it. Check out our other videos. Go to our playlist. We got episodes of TPS TV, Journey Through the Dark Side. We got a new show coming out, the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson. And of course, our short film, Entropy. You can find all that and more right here on YouTube. And then check out, yeah, look at that. All of our social media right there. And we don't just, copy and paste the same post and put it on all. No, that's ridiculous. 3 different platforms, 3 different posts. The behind the scenes stuff you see on Twitter will not be the same stuff you see on Instagram. So there you go, right there. So be sure to give us a follow and a like on all that right there. Keep up to date. Have you seen Unspeakable Acts yet? No? Come on. Pick you up the DVD right now. Links over there. Oh yeah. It's only $7. $3 shipping and handling. And of course, if you've already seen it and you haven't seen the Public Domain Dungeon yet, boom, $5 DVD right there. So 5 S&P as well. Or sorry, 3 S&P as well. So there you go. Do that. And if you got the spare change, you want to hit us up, donate a little bit over here to TPS Productions. Our Patreon is right there. Oh yeah. So that's all we. Oh my God, sorry. I'm getting fired, ain't I? Guys, that's all we got. Thank you for watching.